avast, ahoy, and g'day once again to ye mateys! I be your gently salted and pleasingly rum-filled DM Josh the Pirate, and it brings me more of a thrill than figuring out which of my fish has gone kill-crazy, turns out it wasn't the shark, who knew, to welcome you back to Corsair's Cove for a new season in my Humblewood world of elements and evil. With me, I have my hearty crew. The piratical Daria, surname redacted. The pillaging Karen Schlink. The thieving Brendan Ellis. And the rapacious Mr. John Best. Guys, thank you so much for that hype train that we've got going on, what we've got going on. Terrace, thanks for the biddies. Hogan, Avis, thank you for resubbing, you bloody champions. So let's talk about these splendid beans, shall we? Guys, who the absolute heck are you? Daria, tell us about you, and tell us about the wonderful artwork that you have created for us.
Yes, of course. Well, my name is Daria. I'm an artist, and I've done emotes and portraits for the campaign, which you can see on the screen. And there's a new one for our cool new friend, Bron, which honestly, working on Bron's portrait was very fun and very easy peasy because the character is so sweet. And like making a cute little mechanic steampunk engineer was pure joy. Especially because the description was so broad that I could give it my own little sprinkle, and I'm like,
expose him on stream. Let's go.
Yeah,
that's good for me though. A tip for everyone who's like asking an artist to do something: if you give them freedom, they will feel a bit better about like what they're creating. If it's not as rigid, so it's like delicious stylistic choices.
I definitely intended that. Yes.
Avis, Avis, thank you so much, you bloody champion. Avis has just gifted 5 subs to the channel, one of them to McBestington. So, John, you are now subbed. Yay!
Yay!
Also, John, the fuck, you weren't already subbed to my channel. Never mind.
I was actually looking at being like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
I'm all...
Well, this is the last episode. We have Bron.
It was nice knowing you. Bye.
I have decided to, in honor of Avis's extreme generosity, give Daria an inspiration. There you go. For the amazing artwork as well. So thank you very much, Daria. John, who the heck are you?
I'm John, and I have a cup that says John the Best. Haha, because my last name's Best. So yeah, I've been friends with Josh and Karen for a long time, been a performer, and now am, playing D&D with them, which is lots and lots of fun, and being a cute mechanic and giving lots of stylistic freedom to the artists.
Hells yeah. Karen, who the heck are you?
Hi, I'm Karen. I am a performer and writer and a crippling internet addict. And I have known John for so long that we were in a show together at the very first term of uni where he played a rat and I played a ferret.
Yeah,
yes. Yes. Oh.
That was
play a rat. You played
long-
Ratty.
Yes, he was Ratty and I was ferret number 3.
And this was
What was
before
the
I
show?
met either of them. Wind in the Willows.
It was Wind in the Willows, yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm like, no, surely you didn't play Win in the Willows at uni. No,
Yeah.
fuck me, I guess you did.
Tony Nichols' pantomime of Wind in the Willows.
Ah, cool.
It was...
Yeah.
I had very fun memories of that show.
Yeah.
Me
was,
too.
I would have been in 2006.
Ooh, yes. Ages horribly and publicly, Josh.
This was before I met either of them.
I couldn't legally drink.
Karen, had you met Brendan at that point?
I was still in high school at that point.
No,
true, yeah.
that must have been...
Shit. You two have known each other longer than anybody else on this stream by a country.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Woo.
Are you sure it was 2006?
Yep, it was the year before I started uni, which was 2007.
Almost 20 years.
Go! Docs everyone, let's go.
All right. Yeah,
What was I
that's
saying
that.
about drinking?
Yeah. I put whiskey in my hot chocolate.
It's gotten worse now, yeah.
It's like, there's
Hey,
no
Bish Bosh.
alcohol on my desk.
Yeah.
All my backup chocolate. There's nothing.
And Brendan, who the heck are you?
yeah.
Oh, sorry, Karen, carry on.
Oh,
Do you have anything else you wanted to reveal about
There's
yourself?
like social media shit in the thing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to grapple with my mortality for a moment.
Oh shit, my fudge. I presume Terrace is talking about actual fudge that they are making.
Is the kitten in the fudge? Is this the issue?
Is the kitten in the
When it comes
freezer?
to Terrace, who knows?
That's an amazing euphemism.
Yeah.
Oh, my kitten's in the fudge. What does that mean?
We're in the fudgy.
If you don't know,
We're
I'm
in
not
the-
telling you. Brendan, who the heck are you?
You swear. Instead of saying like my shit's fucked, you can say my kitten's in the fudge.
My
As in,
fudge
it's
is
a
burnt.
problem. Yeah.
There's a kitten in the fudge, guys. There is a kitten in the fudge. Sorry,
Is a
Brendan,
code
sorry.
red? Kitten is in the fudge.
Yes. That is a code brown situation.
Code brown is something else. Anyway, that's my intro. I'm Brendan. I've been subscribed from my own money to this channel for 27 months, and I haven't received a subscription. So, or rather, an inspiration. So, I'm just putting that out there. Like, someone gets paid to do a thing. Oh, here, let me reward you with more things.
Oh, delicious souls, delicious souls.
Good thing there isn't a giveaway tonight, because I'll probably fucking lose that too. Anyway, that's me.
Don't worry, he's just a really good actor. He's not angry at all.
Josh is lightly salted. I'm
Yeah.
a bit more than that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for that hype train, you bloody champions. Level 2 hype train complete, you bloody champions. Thank you so much, guys. That's extremely gratifying. Sauce Babe, saving up for NPCs. Yeah, that's true. We're almost out as well, so I need some new ones. Hit me up. And I be Josh the Pirate. You can find me here on my channel Corsair's Cove, where I run D&D and other RPG-related games with me lovely wife Karen, the mother of bunnies, and all my splendid friends. And Daria. And,
Fuck you.
oh, I think we've established you're paid to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Okay, that's fine.
Paid to
I'm
be
a
our
lead
minor,
guest.
hanging out with all
I'm
these
a
old
paid
people.
cameo.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want, you can hire me for your in-person D&D games, like a bunch of people did this afternoon, and it was fucking cool. And I've got another one on Saturday, and another one on Sunday, because I'm very professional and very important. If you want to see episodes of what you may have missed on the channel, you can check out our YouTube. I also heartily endorse our riotous, rebellious, and possibly even turbulent audience to please like, follow, and subscribe to all the things, you bloody champions. We have all the exclamation mark socials. And we have a Discord if you want to come and hang out with us there, like many of you have. I will verify all the folks after the stream. Karen, can you please tell me about the Ukraine?
I can, Josh. Let's bring the mood down. There's a war. There's multiple wars. There's a lot of bad shit in the world happening, which sucks. But if you would like to do something to make yourself feel even a temporary relief from the dark void of our own mortality, you can donate to the Emergency Action Appeal via the link in chat. It is a collection of Australian charities and not-for-profits that are supporting Ukrainian refugees. You can follow the link, and then you can either donate generally, or you can pick a specific organisation to direct your funds to. Every little bit helps, and we'll try and keep that void at bay another day.
Yes, splendid. Thank you very much, Karen. Need to be in there an hour, so it'll be a bitch to cut. Oh, I see. Okay. So yes, white chocolate and passion fruit fudge. Oh, now it's white chocolate and passion fruit sludge.
No, it's a brick.
It's a brick. Yeah.
It's a delicious
I was trying to
fudgy
make
brick.
fun words, but there we are. So we need a bit of a recap, and actually we haven't established who's going to do it. So do you want to do a sort of group recap?
I'll do it. I can do it.
Brendan, you can do it. All right.
I
Ooh.
volunteer, and then I won't get volunteered for the next 3 weeks.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, there's the strategy coming through.
Yeah, at episode 2, where there isn't a lot to recap.
You
Well,
fools!
what about some light hazing of the new guy to make a recap immediately?
I did
Aw.
spend the first 2 minutes writing a quick recap in my notes on D&D Beyond
I mean,
because I forget things. So
all right. Well, then
There you go.
I think
John's.
it has to be John then.
Great, awesome. Okay, it's a bit brief. However,
You're the one who convinced us by telling us.
You were
in
like,
your
oh,
own
well,
notes.
I've got one prepared.
I do, yeah. Look,
Right.
okay, so this is it, word for word. Julio got word that some members of the congregation were being kidnapped, so they asked Bron to join them for an adventure. Bron, knowing only that Julio left home on an adventure and turned first into a pirate and then the Pope, thought this would be amazing, so he said yes. They arrived in the city, and then two black slimes attacked the child, so they beat the crap out of them, and soon will retire to the pub for a catch-up. The end.
That is,
Eric-
in a
Eric
nutshell.
and Cash were also there.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, but who cares?
Yeah.
Thank you.
In a
yes.
nutshell, from Bron's perspective, that is entirely what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that the primary focus of it was, and maybe then I will be Pope.
Pirate,
Yeah. I
Pirate
mean,
Pope?
maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
right? They need a god.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Brendan?
Nah.
I think he covered it well. Alrighty.
Yeah.
So, mateys, may your giant novelty scissors be used only for cutting ceremonial ribbons, and all your grandmothers not become heads of state, as we head, tremulously at first, and then with mounting heat and passion, into the Humblewood. Yeah, that is how Pope works, right? Yeah, I think there's some, you've got to light some red fires or something, I don't know.
I just had a mental image of my granny, who let me remind you all, is 100 years old,
Yeah.
becoming prime minister.
Hey, Tony.
I don't think she'd do a terrible job, to be honst.
Look, she
As long
would
as everyone
struggle to do
reminded her
worse
what
than
she was
everybody
supposed
else.
to be doing semi-regularly, she'd
Yeah.
be fine.
She's got to have
so-
less eyebrows than John Howard.
She's got almost no hair. So, we return to the Older Heart and the roots beneath the great tree. A school was in the midst of being opened, Ebonheart Elementary, when calamity struck. Or rather, a pair of slimes did, and attempted unsuccessfully, thanks to the party, to abduct the new council speaker and a small child, Stoa Mossbow, a congregant of Julio's. The crowd, still on the edge of though somewhat calmed by Speaker Shadowmalt, who, a quick prestidigitation later, is encouraging the event to continue. Retrovet, thank you very much for the follow, you bloody champion. Avast, matey, you wee scallywag. Please, good people, we are the citizens of Alderheart. A minor elemental incursion is nothing we haven't weathered before. Together, and you see, we are ably protected by the saviors of Alderheart. Please, Colonel, the ribbon. And she sort of gestures Kesh and your giant pair of scissors back over. And she uses the distraction to turn her back to the crowd slightly and mutters to you, and afterwards, if you wouldn't mind, get to the bottom of this quickly. Assemble a team, I'll see what I can find out. We'll talk later, alright?
And Cash turns to the crowd with a big sass. It brings me so much pleasure to declare this wonderful institution of education defended from slimes and officially open.
Hey! And Granny turns to you and offers you a hug, actually. It looks like quite a formal ceremonial hug, but she pulls you in and says, and thank you, dear. Hug Eric for me as well, would you?
Me too.
And she says, now, Principal, I believe you have a tour for me. I am excited to see. And a couple of Perch Guard and a couple of Wildwood Brigadiers have sort of subtly arrived during this whole, afterwards. But, yeah, they take over the guarding of the speaker duties, and I imagine you will not see her without them again anytime soon. Hey, Mooncloud. Not again. Yeah. And you are free to your own recognizance.
Am I going on this tour?
You do not have to.
Given what she just whispered in my ear, I suspect she is expecting me to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. Stat, I think was the implication.
Cool. I will shake hands with all the relevant, important people, hand out vague congratulatory statements with the handshakes, and then
Really,
politely...
you politely disengage and come over to Julio and Eric. and Bron as well. But
Before we discuss anything, could I briefly speak to the child and the dads?
well,
Because,
that's what I was
Julio
going to say. Actually,
Oh,
they would
lovely.
have come to you. Greetings from the frozen hellscape I call home. Ah, the rest of the world. It's actually not too bad here. It's like 24 degrees today. It was quite pleasant. But the rest of the week has been disgusting. And yeah, the little stoa is still balmy 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Jesus. Yeah, Stoa is being very shy, but has expressed gratitude to the three of you, while the whole everything else is going on, and her dads are, or their dads are, being very sort of. So switchgear, thank you so much. Oh, it's a pleasure. Oh, we're so honored, but also so grateful. And one of them is like quite weepy, like just. I couldn't even, like, just the idea of losing Stoa is just destroying them.
They're both
yeah.
Strigs, yeah?
Yep, all three.
Actually, question: how many of the like churchgoers in the Older Heart are birds?
I'd say it's probably around, your congregation's about 30% birdfolk, I'd have thought. Mostly because that's about the split in the roots.
Okay, doke. Yeah, that's fine. I was just curious. Yeah, Julio would probably spend at least one spell slot on healing word for the kid. Just to like heal any scrapes and just in general soothe them.
Yeah.
And as others are congregating closer, Julio would say, "Yeah, I've received word that some people in our church have disappeared. I assume from these proceedings. Could you please tell me if you noticed anything strange or weird, or if there would be a reason for you specifically, like, turn to kid, to be taken by these goops?"
Couldn't possibly think of any. There's heard of a few interesting things happening around. Mr. Shayax is very concerned about young Mihai, and we think Griselda Barleythorn's also gone missing. In the last couple of days, she's a widow, so no one looked in on her in a few days. But I think her daughter came in and asked if anyone had seen her. But we haven't done any. I don't think anyone's actually really looked into it other than her daughter. His partner is just fussing over Stoa, and they do have names. It's. Yeah?
Sorry to ask what might seem like an irrelevant question, but how long ago did these people disappear?
It's hard to say. You're talking to Merle Mosbo. His partner Morris is the one who is comforting Stoa.
Merle and Morris?
Yeah, Merle and Morris. Morris and Merle. Morris and Merle Mosbo.
Cute.
They are very cute. And Merle is. He says, "I'm afraid I haven't been looking into it myself too carefully. It's you know what the roots are like. It's sort of everyone sort of keeps their head down here, and I suppose more and more of this is what we shouldn't be doing. I suppose that's sort of the point of the teachings. We have started looking. Mr. Shayax is a bit. I would have said a while ago that he takes things rather personally, and when somebody stops coming to church, you know, he almost feels it's an affront. So when a notorious thief doesn't show up, he goes, "Oh, I'm worried." Whereas, you know, just because he's a member of the faith doesn't necessarily mean he's a good person. Not saying he is a bad person, but he does steal from people. Whereas, you know, Mihai, that's someone everybody can be worried about, and we are. I went out last night and had a look, see if I can turn up anything, but I'm no investigator. Just doing my civic duty, you know.
We appreciate it.
I know, and look, if there's anything we can do, let us know. Actually, I'm pretty sure there is something we can do, so next time I bump into you, we'll have it done. It's a present, a thank you for looking after Stoa. To all of you, thank you. And he turns and he pumps Bron's hand, like, thank you, sir, thank you. It was really impressive as well. I love the whole suit and yeah, it was all very invigorating. And then he goes, so if you wouldn't mind, and holds out. He's very politely. He doesn't just take Eric's hand. He asks, and he offers his hand to shake to Eric.
Eric would, at best, be half engaged in the conversation. Eric would have been paying attention very carefully to all the other routes during the rest of the ceremony, and when he probably would have scooped up a purple flame from the body of the ooze that he was right next to when it died, and holding onto it. And when Kesh came down, he would have pressed that into Kesh's hands. And Kesh would receive 2d10 points of healing.
Ooh.
Thank you. Do you want to roll it, or should I roll it?
I'm rolling it right now. 10 plus my whiz is 15 points of healing.
Excellent. Back to max.
And Bishop Blood has purchased a NPC, Cornelius Rosewater, naturalist and gentleman. I love it. This is going to be Paul Bettany's character from Master and Commander, but a crow or a magpie. So I am hyped for when I manage to work him in. Tells you. Thank you.
Yeah, great. But yeah, so that would have been happening as this conversation was happening with Julio. Yeah. So I would probably notice him putting his hand out and look over and offer. Like, is he wanting to shake hands?
Yeah, he was going to. He was just saying thank you. Yeah.
No problem at all. Of course.
Thank you, sir. And Colonel, that was always very impressive. We have so much appreciation for all the things you've done for the city and the wood. Anyway, so you're busy. We just wanted to say thank you, and we do. Thank you.
No, thank you.
So Julio, I'll see you back at the next congregation.
Yes, but so far I might ask some people to spread the word to, postpone it. We can't risk meeting at the roots like that.
Right. Yes. No. Of course. It makes that's very, very sensible. He seems visibly disappointed, but he understands. He's like, no.
Don't worry though. We will find a way to keep in touch and communicate. But I need to find a place that would be a bit safer for everyone to discuss things for now.
He says, some of us have been having little meetings in our homes. Do you think we should stop doing that?
No. If anything, that is a very good alternative right now, because maybe going closer to the roots is dangerous, but the sense of community and protection that we lend each other is invaluable. I think that's a very good idea. I will try, if this issue is persisting, I will do my best to also attend some of those meetings to reassure people as much as I can.
I'll spread the word. Thank you. And he does. And he buggers off with his husband, who just weeping leaves him.
Aww.
Yeah. And Stoa is like bizarrely unruffled. Like a kid who's been through like a seriously traumatic experience just hasn't processed it at all yet. It's just like, okay, so when's chocolate? Like, yeah, I will be treats now. Yes, there will be treats. Yeah, cool. You are in the roots. There is a pub nearby. The nearest pub is a dingy but serviceable affair called the Hedge and Hedge, and possesses a faded sign over the door depicting a gaudily dressed hedge lady partially obscured in a small bush.
Nice.
What is that woman doing in that bush? I want to know.
I think we need to have a talk.
And a drink.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Perhaps we can get a booth.
I'm going to assume that if I go into the Hedge and Hedge in uniform and ask for a quiet corner or room to have a drink and a chat with my companions, that won't be a problem.
It won't be. Though down here, you and Julio probably have about as much authority as each other, so Kesh will be treated differently to Julio, but the result will be the same. Julio is God King of the Undercommons.
Yippee!
Actually,
Praise the God King.
before we would you mind if we make a quick detour to the chapel? I wouldn't mind seeing what you've done with the place, Julio.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. And also, probably Shayax is there, so we'll discuss everything and then reconvene for a drink and to form a plan.
Oh, so you head to the Temple of the Alderheart, and
To be clear, this is the public one and not our secret cubby.
yes.
Yeah.
How secret is your secret cubby still? Is it? Have you intended to
Personal
keep
question.
it?
I actually
Nameless.
think it has nothing to do with me. Eric has been out of town for most of the time.
Yeah, right.
By secret cubby, what do we mean? Do we mean the rooms where we planned our
Your secret tunnel.
revolution?
Yeah.
Well, as far as I know, at least all of people serving cash
A
know
good portion
about it.
of the Humblewood of the Wildwood Brigade knows about it. Yeah, it is at
Right.
best semi-secret at this point. It's,
Yeah, I don't think
think
it's open to the public.
the
but...
fact that it exists is known. How to get in or where it is not. Yeah.
I think that actually serves us a little bit because all the ne'er-do-wells know that we have a way to secretly go across the trees as much as we can, so we can be anywhere.
Well,
God
Batman.
King and Batman, yes.
Yeah.
I'm God King.
I'm pretty sure God King Batman was probably a plotline at some point.
There's definitely, yeah. It was a Justice League, wasn't it? Justice League 2 or something. Anyway, yeah, you head to the Temple of the Alderheart in the Roots, and yeah, what have you done with the place? It's your temple. What have you done with it?
Well, of course, there is a huge golden statue of Julio with a huge penis.
Yeah. And
in
breasts.
the center.
Enormous
Long
melons. Yeah.
Yes, got it. But no, I think so. The room itself is very like warmly lit, and it has like similar vibe to the actual like chapel room that we forged first up top.
Yep.
And I think it has a little bit. So there is already natural like sector of the node, but also I think I would have added a sector of like a play area for kids or something. It's kind of like a community center. It's less of a strict chapel and more like a community center with a bit of like hobbies, some like kids toys in the corners. It's like a place of discussion and just relaxation for people. And there is like a podium for speaking. And one of the things that Julio would want to do in the future when the place is a bit more established is to like bring in different speakers who want to tell like stories or teach people something. So he's planning for this to be like a community first and religious second kind of place.
Yeah, cool. I love it. I will make one modification because the sort of the temple area has a sort of viney growth over one end of it. I'm going to say that you turned that somewhat into... It looks like a window. It's not. It's a door. Most people don't know that beyond it is a life node. However, you turned it into a stained glass window effect area.
Oh, yeah.
So you have a glorious godly light glowing through the window underground. And yeah.
Heck yeah.
And everybody who comes in goes out feeling healthier because they literally spend 45 minutes to an hour bathing in life magic.
Nice.
And yeah, it's...
This is how Julio's scam of being a faith healer works.
Yeah.
I was literally about to say, wait, faith healing that actually works?
Yeah.
Is it a scam?
That's what clerics do. That's like paladins, clerics. Those are faith healers right there. I mean, how do druids do it other than believing in nature? So yeah, there's a lot.
Question, guys. When you were growing up, did you have this thing where there'd be like a special faith healer, spiritual healer on TV, and people would put like a jar of water on the TV to charge it with the magic? Because people
No.
did do that here
No.
in like 90s time. There's a guy who was very popular who would be like, no, I'm healing you through the screen. And people would have like 3-liter jars of water that they put on the TV to get that energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
We don't have, as far as I'm aware, we don't have any Australian televangelists, but
I know the US
there used to
did
be
a
a
bit.
time. Yeah,
We've got Hillsong.
at-
Sorry about
at
that.
2
world.
a.m. and 3 a.m. American televangelists would come on.
Yeah, I remember if you
Whoever's
got up
awake at 2
super
and 3.
early, you get the end of it.
Yeah.
If you're awake
Yeah,
at
but
2
no,
and 3,
they
then you don't
never-
have a glass of water to put on the TV.
Yeah,
You should probably
they
get a
never
glass of
charged
water.
Our, they never charged our JO crystals for us.
If I'm allowed, I'll put a picture of like what it looked like in chat so people can.
Oh, please
can
do.
see.
I am curious.
Inspiration
the
of
Discord.
Julio's life.
Yeah. So Julio is low-key televangelist.
Yep.
Okay. You do that. So you go there. I mean, Shayax doesn't live here, but you could have stopped in along the way to get him. And he might have been here anyway. Like some of these heathens. Alrighty. So yeah.
I went to actual church, so
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's adorable.
yeah, that picture is that's something, all right.
Yep.
I mean, if you'd asked me to say where in the world did that happen, my guess would probably have been late or slightly post-Soviet Russia.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the...
Is that real? Because it looks like a steal from a film.
Yeah.
It's real. People actually did that. I can give you like another photo. Like that was actually like things that people. I'm giving you the deep lore on 90s Russia, guys. You're
Yeah.
fucking welcome.
Yeah, this is fascinating. It is.
It's a
It
good
is.
thing that
what we
you've
pay you for.
moved out of the 90s and now 2024 Russia is so much more enlightened.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, so much more
civil.
advanced and intelligent and like humane, most of all.
Yeah. That's what I love about Russia. The humanity.
You can make these jokes.
Me
so,
too.
yeah.
I love everything here.
Blink twice.
They've got the entire water cooler next to the TV now, so it's not
Yeah.
just 3 liters. It's 30.
A
I'm
drinking
just-
fountain.
Just going to put this link up in chat again, everybody, because Daria needs money to get out. As much furry porn as you can. Save you through furry porn.
So, yes, I want to take a look, and it won't be subtle. I want to take a close look at the walls and the roots, particularly those coming from the secret life chamber.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then
Nature,
if no signs, I'll
investigation,
go.
religion. Whichever you fancy.
Sure.
Julio could do it with their eye. Well,
Yes.
What about
I could.
perception?
yeah, perception be alright.
Okay.
Or other stuff. Ugh.
I mean, a
14.
girl's gotta work, you know? I can draw something else.
I wonder, is there a reason why it's not coming up on my feed? Just reset. Cool.
Would
14.
I be able to help Eric with this, with my cool eye?
Yeah. Call it with advantage.
Great.
Let's go.
I will roll that again.
Better than a 5 this time. There we go.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah, sure. There is so this close into the node, there is nothing wrong here at all. It is still just as healthy as it ever was. Further out, however, as you got as from where you were was
I would have
reasonably...
been following the
Yeah.
roots and
Yeah.
things with my eyes, yeah.
So yeah, as you got closer to the node, there was less. Every now and again, you would see a little puddle or a little stain on the roots, or yes, a little puddle underneath them. Nothing major, nothing anywhere near what you saw before at the school. The school is quite close to the entrance to the Undercommons. It's the easiest place to start because you have to bring building equipment less far. So start it out at the beginning and then come in further. But yeah, they definitely, it gets less the closer you get to the life node.
Is it like rot, or is it literally just little puddles?
It is the puddles look like sap. It looks like a sickness. With Julio's eye, you can see almost... It's actually, I'm not sure it's something you've ever really encountered before. Oh, no, you have a little bit. It's almost like a blank void when you look at it. Like it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Your eye can't see it.
Interesting. And this seems familiar to us.
Not really. It doesn't. No, actually, it doesn't have the feeling of familiarity at all to you, other than what you fought earlier.
So does it seem like it's like some sort of virus or bacteria kind of for the tree?
You, the fact that your eye can't see it, you can make an intelligence check about.
Moi?
Yes, I think it would
Okay.
have to be you, unless you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's RP this out a bit because
Yeah.
I feel like Eric could probably give a
Take a
hand
guess.
with that check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Eric kind of suggested that we go to the chapel, and I would say, because I was following kind of these routes and the damage and deathiness. I actually only just arrived in the Older Heart this afternoon. This is why I came here. Havel said that he spotted, and correct me if I'm wrong, DM, he said that he had spotted some form of corruption in the roots that seemed not of this plane. And I can only think of one other plane that would match this and have this kind of MO. And I can see now that we're here in the chapel, there's none of this corruption here, so that kind of makes sense.
So I think Julio and Eric would both have this sort of knowledge that with your a little bit more extensive knowledge of elemental magic, particularly life elemental magic, Eric would probably have done a little bit of reading on the subject. So where most elemental planes, where they meet, you get the plane of a demi-plane of what happens when the two of them meet. But it is, and whilst it is considered that that fire and water are oppositional, and air and earth are oppositional, just in terms of what they do and what they really are, they still have a functional meeting plane where something happens. With water and fire, it is the plane of storm. It is the
Steam.
plane of steam. Yes, and with earth and air, it is the plane of peaks. And think floating mountains of Pandoria, not far off. That but life and death are antithetical. You can't mix them really. And the deep lore is that when you the place where they meet is known as the void. It is nothingness. When you mix life and death, you get nothing. So yeah, looking at something that is inherently death with a life eye gets you nothing.
Yeah, Eric, I think this is definitely looking like death plane influence. I wonder if someone or something brought this virus, this influence to stop the growth of all the heart. And Julio will get a little box, a little velvet box out of his pocket and open it to the group, and you guys can see a crystal tear that is having a little bit of shine, just emanates as soon as he opens the box, and says, I think I should tell you now that during my time away, when I met up with Braun and had a bit of an adventure, the adventure itself is very cool, and I'll tell you more about how cool Braun was there as well. But what is relevant right now is while I was in Espinora, I kind of sort of talked to one of the gods. So I kind of had a conversation with Naba, and she's not as well known as other Marinthine right now, but she's still out there. And she gave me this. This is her tear. And with this, I would be able to start the progression for all the heart to become one of the Marinthine, or a equal kind of strength at least.
So, do you think that using that would help purge the corruption, or do you think the corruption would stop it from working?
I'm feeling like there is a third option, where if something is siphoning out its power, it could benefit or take some of it. And I'm not willing to risk that.
Absolutely not. And I can't help but feel our black, greasy friends are somehow related to this.
Yes, I feel like we need to cleanse it first to make sure that the older heart can progress without somehow feeding whatever this is.
I really hope that these people aren't missing because, you know.
I mean, everything is possible. They could have turned into these slimes that we just killed. We don't know yet. I'm wondering as well if this is somehow connected to us cleansing that death influence from your mom. Maybe some residue of that was left here. I do not know.
If
Eric,
anything,
you can make an intelligence check on that front.
Yeah.
I will give Eric guidance on this as well.
And Kesh, actually, you can both do it, given that you were both there.
Sorry, investigation, did you say?
In intelligence, straight intelligence.
Okay. And guidance is a D4?
Yes.
Okay.
I think most of this time, Bron
That's
has
a
been...
9.
Oh, great.
18. Better.
Plus D4, 22.
22.
Nice.
Eric, the thing that was upsetting your mum was a single elemental, and it was banished. You were, I think, probably fairly thorough about making sure it didn't get anywhere else. This is related probably only because it's elemental. However, how that thing got in has yet to be fully figured out. How that got into your mum in the first place, that we're not sure on. But there is, I suppose, the only inference you can make is there are definitely agents on the material plane working for the plane of death. They're probably not elementals themselves, but they are allied with them.
Yeah. I also ask, do either as a recollection of what we know, or this is something else that I think that Eric would have realistically did a bit of asking about and looking into. Has it been determined that the first incursions from the fire plane were summonings, or whether they were instigated by the plane itself? Is that something that we would have the knowledge of?
Way back when, as in like when the original party was dealing with the very first incursions?
I mean, as far back as we can go, like potentially even back to Scorched Grove.
So the most recent explosions of the Scorched Grove were started by Lazarus, trying to destroy it permanently. However, the initial instigation of that was 2 elemental planes bashing against each other. And there has, I mean, in the center of the Scorched Grove, there is a fire node. It's always been assumed, it's never been found. So that being said, no, what am I talking about? You found it. You guys have found, there are several, and 2 different ones have been located. There are several fire nodes. Yeah. There are 2. The other party got, the Flocks and Fire party got into the fire plane through one, and you and Julio went into the fire plane through another. So, there are several in there, which is the problem. It's not just one, it's a group of them. However, I would say, given that you've had your ear to the ground about elemental stuff, in the last month or so, another elemental node was found in the area around Winnowing Reach. It's a pair of water. One is water, one is earth. And they were out of balance. And it's not well known. That has been kept on the down low, but the tenders were alerted to the fact, as they are elemental specialists, by the avium.
Am I aware if any action was taken about that?
Yes. A team from the avium took the action and resolved the situation. And in fact, it has become some news, actually, that Winnowing Reach used to be a swamp. It used to be swamp inhabited by slimes, and recently it has become more like wetlands and bayous. It's significantly nicer. Way less gross and nasty to live in. And it's unusual. It's no one's really sure how it happened. It is known that the public knowledge is that a team from the avium went out into the bogs. There was a massive elemental explosion, and then the ecology of the area around Winnowing Reach and the mock fields generally changed pretty much overnight after a massive storm. And Karen is fully aware what happened because she was there as a different character.
Okay, so I've just had a brain blast. Let me do my best to summarize this in relevance to our conversation. Elemental planes have been known to encroach on the material plane without being summoned or without assistance based on this plane. However, we know for a fact that my grandmother was being manipulated through my mother's illness, which we now know the source of, and we know who was manipulating her. So it's possible that these things were brought over and this corruption was instigated in retaliation to my mother's cleansing, or just as a furthering of their plot of making life a bit shittier unless you worship Titan
Right.
or their twisted version of Titan. I would expect it to be related in some way. I would suspect that it's probably not the cult itself, but who knows where the Fells came from? They came from somewhere, right? So they're probably serving some higher purpose, unless they were just serving Kren. Who knows, right? Fuck me. But we know that there has been influence from the plane of death here for probably as long as the cult has been alive. So what, 50 years?
At least.
So that's a long time to get your roots in, so to speak.
Nice pun. Also, there's something
Thanks.
I could add to this. When I talked to Naba, the issue there was that essentially the lizard folk of the jungle wanted to take back the jungle and to win it for the elemental plane of Earth. So there's definitely different areas of the world where the planes are trying to enforce their influence. But what was interesting about that situation is even though there was a shaman who was working to further that influence, Naba, who told me that she, like all Amaranthine, is allied with specific planes, and she's aligned with fire and earth. And I asked her if, because she's aligned with earth, why would she stop the shaman from doing that? But she says that, well, it would destroy material plane if one of the planes would overtake it like that. So from that we can infer that there are many agents of different planes working, perhaps always have been, but right now the pace at which that is happening is speeding up. And because we already talked to some of the Amaranthine and know kind of their MO, perhaps it is interesting or worthy of our attention to try and figure out who are the Amaranthine who are aligned to death and life, and seek counsel from those, because looking at how Naba was, they might have some information without wanting that plane to overtake.
I'm pretty sure the main Amaranthine aligned to death is Titan.
Titan, Kren, and Hath, main three. Kren being
death or just
they are not evil, death. Quite distinct from it. You can be death aligned without being evil. You can also be life aligned and be evil. Kren is the
what
only.
What are the life ones?
Hanera, Kerith, and Ardea would be the main three.
Just while we're talking about gods and goddy stuff, sorry. Do I know anything about Naba? Have I heard of Naba?
Naba is the Eliran Amaranthine. So she is
Lizard?
No, cat.
Cats.
You've only met like one Eliran, I think, or two maybe. Yeah. And they're not very common in the wood, and her worship is basically non-existent in the Humblewood for that reason. She is, however, she's something of a faded Amaranthine. The lore is that there was a large Eliran empire, and she was sort of the figurehead of that when the empire was broken, and it wasn't a particularly nice empire, as empires go, and it was broken, and her faith was broken with it. And despite her not being a bitch, she was sort of linked inexorably with it, so her faith was very much out of favor because we don't like the empire it was attached to, sort of thing. However, Bron and Julio were both raised by a priestess of Naba, and would probably, if you had any religious upbringing at all, that's where it was. That's what it was. I doubt she wouldn't have been like, hey, also don't worship anybody other than Nabar, but that would have been baby's first amaranthine. Would have been that when you were growing up. She would have also given you an education in all the others, and sort of hey, make your own choices. Maybe pick one that's more racially aligned to you, but you don't have to at all. Yeah.
That's kind of cool because I know I wrote down before we even started that Bron likes hat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
Oh God, Bron, you meeting Kesh. Kesh has Hath's constellation on her cheek.
Oh, that's what that is. Ah, yes.
We're friends. We've met.
Hath is unusual among the Amaranthines. In fact, Hath is unique among the Amaranthines, with the exception of Ardea, Titon, and Hath. All of the Amaranthines were once mortal men and women. Hath is a sentient constellation of stars that takes on the form of a raccoon. Not a Mapatch, a raccoon. And considered the Mapatch have adopted her as their own, but the Mapatch do not actually have an Amaranthine who was a Mapatch. In the same way the Terrans don't either.
The Mapatch Scrounge crafted their own.
Amaranthine. Yeah. It's well, if we're not special enough, we're going to worship these stars until it talks back.
That's so fitting.
That's such a
very
Mapatch
Mapatch,
move. Yeah.
Mapatch crafted their own god with a box of scraps in a cave.
Yeah. It's a
And a tree.
MacGyver god. Yeah. It's three sticks of gum, a toothpick, and some stars.
Yeah.
They are just a local version of Iron Man. They're just
Yeah.
the race of him.
Tony Stark would totally be a Mapatch.
Oh, absolutely. Or a
Yeah,
Vulcan,
that's why-
because that's what Bron is. Bron is low-key Iron Man.
That's why I picked Hath. I was like, 100%. It's not racially aligned, but that is exactly
Okay.
what Bron does.
So we're basically furthering the idea that this is Animal Avengers. So we have Captain America, we have Iron Man. Who would Eric be then?
The Hulk.
Loki?
Doctor Strange.
Ooh, Doctor Strange. That would work.
Spider-Man
In,
turns into a
Interplanar.
giant spider.
Yeah. I'm all of them. I'm every superhero.
You're everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave
Actually,
one
he's-
for me then. Damn.
Could you be
Yeah, you're
Aquaman's
Hawkeye.
Black
You?
Widow. Black Widow.
With huge melons.
Yeah.
Agreed.
not-
And the longest toupee.
Red toupee.
Yeah.
Mm.
Skin tight leather body glove. I actually do think Eric would be Hulk.
Interesting.
in temperament,
yeah.
And sort of inclination as well, I think. And then just loses his shit and drowns people in tar.
I can
I'm
see.
an incredible
wow.
The Punisher. Oh yeah, I pay that actually.
Yeah. Mm. I need more trauma for that though. Kill all
That's
my
true.
family and then we'll
Yeah.
talk.
I mean, I had an opportunity last session.
Yeah.
Julio's probably
I can't-
Judge Dredd actually.
That's dread. Ooh.
Oh, what am I
I don't
saying?
know why,
That's,
but I'm-
that's
I'm
Cash.
getting these images of all these pop culture references. Anyway, it's I want to continue this conversation, but I think that perhaps we should move it elsewhere. So perhaps to the pub.
Well, let's talk to Shayax first because we're here.
Yeah, he actually pops in at that point and says, just back into existence. Just he resolves. And the screen updates itself, and all of a sudden Sharks is there looking a little confused. He's like, wait, I didn't exist for a moment. Okay, hi. Julio, hi. Good to, yes, hello. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming back. And
Yeah, I got your letter.
yeah, the bee arrived this morning. Thank you. There has been a development. I would seem to have lost another.
Wait, how
The
many is
widow.
that now?
We think 4. Yes, and Mihai has been missing for well over a week at this point too. Actually, and
So wait. Sorry, I'll do this out of character. So just quickly recap who the missing are. So
as
it's
far as
Mihai.
Shayax is away, yes, Griselda Barleythorn, who is a Vulpin widow, Mihai Stoneskew, who was one of Julio's junior priests, and then there was
Seely, the orphan.
Seely the orphan, yes, and Kergullen, who was a Corvum thief.
Yep.
So,
do
so
do
two
you
of them are
know-
adults and two of them are kids.
Yep. Oh no.
And we also prevented
Oh,
two more abductions today, by the way, in the...
Yes, I did hear about that. That's interesting, and those puddles have been worrying a lot of people for a long time. I've been quietly telling people to probably stay clear of them, but they haven't seemed nasty or anything. We just thought it was something off with the tree, which that became a thing after I sent you the letter, so I didn't see the need to send you another.
And what were the species again?
The Corvum, Kergullen the thief was a Corvum. Mihai is a Jabin, I think. The Vulpin lady was the window was a Vulpin, and Seely I actually hadn't said, but let us say a Luma.
Sorry.
Did they have these four? Were they last spotted around the same time, or do we think their time of disappearance has been?
Mihai was helping me look for Seely and Kergullen.
Did you guys get separated?
Well, we did separate. She went looking, and I went looking, and didn't seem to be any sense going together. Foolish, I know. I'm sorry. We were
Did she
just
go
worried.
to
Not
look
your fault.
anywhere in particular?
Yes. She went. Well, we met here, and I said, well, I'll go this way, and you go that way. So, she headed west, while I headed east. And I didn't see her again. We didn't organize to meet back afterwards unless one of us had news. So, and she knows where I live. So I when I came back and she wasn't back, I didn't immediately worry. I mean, I'm not her father or her keeper. But I didn't see her the following day, and that had me a little worried. And when no one had seen her in 2 days, I thought, right, okay, I'm going to the guard about this. I'm going to the Perch Guard. And in fairness to them, they've been a lot better in the last while.
Since we eliminated all of the corrupt officials, yes.
Well, yes, of course, but also so since the reorganization and everything's they actually, when I reported Kergullen missing, they said, well, yes, well, a thief who, good, and to a degree I can't disagree with them really. I do see their point, but then Seely, well, again, who's going to miss an orphan? But they did listen. They did say, right, okay, well, we will keep our eyes peeled. It's not entirely within their remit, but apparently they did. Well, I didn't know that Seely has a fairly a record of going off on her own every now and again. So when they found that out, they told me and said, look, yeah, this one runs away every now and again. It's really great that you're sort of keeping an eye on people and great civic spirit. And I went and spoke to the councilman, and he put a boot up their ass, apparently. Yes, and when I went to him about Mihai first, and he said, come with me, and we went together to the Perch Guard. And look, it's sad that I had to go that far up the chain of command, but I got results, and they said, right away, sir. Yes, sir, absolutely, sir. And they took it seriously, which is good. And they have been looking, and that was probably around the time that the puddles first started really popping up or dropping down, I suppose, one way or the other.
After the disappearances had started.
Yes, I can't say I noticed them before. Seems to be getting worse, though.
One out of the world question. You
Yep.
said something orphan ribbit. What is that? What is
And the
this word? Ribbit?
Something
You said-
orphan rivet.
Yeah, it
you-
sounded like the ribbit, like a frog ribbit, but I'm like, it can't possibly mean that.
Remit, possibly remit.
Ribbit, maybe. I was like, what is ribbit? And I'm like Googling the word, trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
Tendency.
tendency.
Yeah, like remittance. I see. Is that the word?
It's not a particularly good word to use. If I did use that word, I shouldn't have. It's but standard sort of practice.
I see.
It's not unusual for her to do that.
Are there any of these puddles near here?
I haven't noticed any, and no is the answer.
I mean, there were a bunch around the school.
Yeah.
I've spotted
So,
a few. We could probably
More
go to one.
than the amount of people that
Oh yes. I don't think. I mean, I'm not the ultimate authority in people who've gone missing in the roots. There's thousands of people down here. I don't know all of them.
Who would?
Right.
Who?
You could check in with the guard, see how many other people have
Yes, I
been.
was going to say, if people were going missing, they would be reporting that to the perch guard,
Presumably.
presumably.
I mean, people down here don't have a huge amount of time for the authorities.
Well, yes, that was my other thought. If there were, who else would they go to?
Some would go to the gangs. Some would spread it around families. I'd get wind of a fair amount of it, I would have thought, being as I sort of have a fairly major public figure. Some might go to Privet. He's considered the local guy. He is our man on the council, sort of thing. And I imagine
I would have thought that when you went to Privet, he would have told you if he was aware of other
that's true.
people going missing.
But that was still fairly early in the whole business.
If you hear of anybody else, please let me know.
I can go and ask Privet now, if you like, while you go and do any more investigating, and I can do some more digging, if you like.
Well, be careful.
know.
I suggest going with someone because walking alone right now is scary. And also, if you could spread the word that right now going to the church might not be the best option, and attend some of those little home meetings that people have.
Yes.
If I may, Julio, and I will point out to the pristine nature of the chapel, this may well be the only truly safe place in the roots.
I know, but getting there is the issue because you will pass so many routes. I'm worried that people will be taken on the road here, and we can't host people here because the place is too small.
Yes. Well,
Perhaps if we insist that people stay in pairs or larger groups.
I would only say that if this is an attack on our congregation, then it's working. If we stop people coming to pray. The older heart protects. Taught me this.
That's fair. In that case, yes, no one travels alone.
Stay in
and
groups.
Kesh, if you could put some people here to patrol a bit more, I would be very grateful. A lot of these people are non-fighters. Even if they are in groups and get attacked, there's not much they can do.
Quick question. Technically, Wildwood Brigade don't patrol inside the city?
Technically not anymore, they do not. However, Kesh can, pretty much whenever she fucking wants, call up to a platoon without anyone saying shit. From anywhere. It doesn't have to be the Wildwood Brigade. You can second perch guard guys directly to your command. You can basically just say, you lot, go and do that until I tell you otherwise. And even their boss can't really say shit. Like, you can just say, hey, Nils, I'm borrowing them. And Nils goes, great, thanks for letting me know, bye. I'll
I'm
keep
just
paying
like-
them and everything.
Because, like, I'm conscious that, you know, this part of town isn't wild about the perch guard, but also I'm like, I don't want to upset anybody by, you know, sending brigadiers in here.
It would be, if you were going to do that, doing it 50-50 and pairing up brigadiers and perch guard would also be, you could call it a joint training exercise.
I like
Fast
that.
camp, yeah.
General Sheridan would fucking love that. What's her face? Shyla Den would think that's hilarious. Nils would approve, but very solemnly. He'd be like, oh yes, that's very wise, Colonel Glitterweed, very wise. And whilst the other two would think it's fucking hilarious. And definitely see right through it. But yeah, if you wanted to do that, that would probably be the best.
Oh,
way
I
to go
definitely
about
want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think given I don't
it. You
want
could get
to
Spencer to organize it as well. So
yeah. I don't want to upset the perch guard. So I was thinking if we pitch it as like a training exercise and have the Wildwood Brigadiers and the perch guard, you know, patrol together in small teams,
Yeah.
it would keep everybody you know, happy, and hopefully would allow the residents here to trust them with anything they might encounter.
I like the way you think, Cash. Killing two bugs with one stone. I like it. I like it.
I
Oh
think
man,
it's-
when I'm asleep and if I wake up suddenly, I can technically kill like 50 bugs with one.
That's a lot
pretty
of
badass.
juice that you get on you.
Poopy.
But no,
Bron is like,
I think
what?
it's. Hi, Bron. Colonel, I think that it's a good idea, and for what it's worth, the brigadiers may well be able to achieve a lower profile as well. So, you know, maybe if someone is doing this, then having guards with a low profile may be a boon.
I'll see if we can minimize the number of bird folk on the patrols. Like, I don't want
like
none.
90%, but
I
Why
mean,
would we
their
want to minimize?
visibility may be some form of reassurance.
True. Like, I don't want no bird folk, but
I think that would be even weirder. I think whoever signs in. Whoever is there, I think showing that people are united to protect people of the roots would be very good.
actually,
Yes.
sorry, Ted. I was just thinking if we have visible perch guards teamed up with more discreet wildwood brigaders, they can attack
That's
the enemy
exactly
from
what I
two
was thinking.
sides. Yeah,
Mm.
gives them a
Giants
lot of
would also
flexibility.
say, I'm no military man, you're the colonel and the hero and everything, but I would say seeing them down here more, seeing bird folk down here more would help people get used to the idea, help them get past this stigma of, well, the bird folk don't care about us. I
Yes.
would strongly endorse, if my thoughts mean anything on the matter, I agree with Sir Switchgear that you should have more of them down here. Don't discriminate, even positively. You know?
No, that's very fair and an excellent point. I'll make sure they're up to date on their humble folk sensitivity training.
Oh God.
I always wondered
Okay.
if they had that.
It's fairly
In that
recent.
case-
Some of them are taking to it better than others.
Personally, I've never seen fur.
Thank you, Eric.
Just tails.
Just tails. That's all.
Oh,
it is.
tails, baby.
Okay, in that case, Shax, scrap trying to hide. We unite, but everyone is taking extra precautions, and the patrols take people to and from the church. And we'll meet up here again, perhaps tomorrow, to discuss what we have found.
course.
And you also don't be anywhere alone.
No,
Um,
I live
do
just
you
down
have
the road.
sending?
My magical skills are very limited.
Well,
If
start
only
learning
you had
sending.
message.
And,
I do. I have learned that.
Oh,
Cool.
I have decided he's a level 1 cleric. So he
That's
has.
actually pretty logical, yeah.
Yeah, he has message.
Nice.
And I think it would be worth telling someone where you're going and when you will be back. Basically, so that's
whenever
good
people-
advice generally for people at the
I'm
moment.
going to put that in tomorrow's sort of talking points sermon thing. Yes.
Yeah, so if you say, I'm going here and I'll be back by then, hopefully we can identify if anyone else goes missing. You can know as close as possible
Yes.
when that
Yes.
happened.
Right, I'll get on it. Lovely seeing you all.
Thank you for
Mr.
your assistance.
Mr. And he looks at Bron like, I don't believe we've met. I'm Shayax.
Yeah, sorry. So, you, this is perfect. You probably catch the fact that Bron has put down a small little robot and that he picked up like the children's blocks of toys as he walked in, and he's looked like he's been paying attention this whole time, but really he's just been going,
Nice.
And now you notice because he's put the robot down, and he's been kind of like making it. And so, yes, of course. Hello, Bron Hydecraft. No, lovely to meet you.
Yes, hello. A pleasure. And speaking of hello and pleasure, GM Workshop, you bloody champion. Rackham, GM Workshop is raiding. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Lovely to see you. Raiden Faye,
welcome.
you take away. Bit sick, so need to lie down. That's totally fair, Rackham. Thank you so much, you bloody champion. You are joining us at episode 2 of a brand new campaign in my Humblewood world with a brand new player as well. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. We are currently investigating some disappearances in the roots of the Alderheart, which is the great capital city of the tree of the wood of the Humblewood, which is a third-party setting by the Hit Point Press. And yes, new player as well. This is John playing Bron Hydecraft with some new art as well. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. 3 favorite raid emotes up in chat. Tell us, how was your stream, guys? I'm going to throw a brilliant shout out to the wonderful GM Workshop. If you guys want to see some fantastic D&D content, you could do significantly worse than checking out GM Workshop. They do Baldur's Gate streams, but they are also running the what's it called? The Dragon, the new Dragon's Adventure from Dungeons and Dragons. So check them out there at GM. With a bunch of our favorite people, the dreaded GM, the Dead Aussie Gamer, and AJ Winters are involved in that campaign. It's a heck of a stream. So check them out at GM Workshop. And we shall continue. Made an evil buddy and didn't get to pet a cat. Well, that's just rude. And Cicada Cybermen, thank you very much for the follow, you bloody champion. Avast, matey, you wee scallywag.
Was it His Majesty who didn't let you pat him? Because His Majesty is an ass.
Oh, Sid the Cyberman. Yeah. Yeah, His Majesty is a bit of a dick. Okay.
Hiss, I say.
Hiss. So, you guys go to a pub, presumably the Hedge and Hedge, or are you going to go to the Lumeran Lawn?
Hedge and hedge. We got a
Hedge and
beautiful
hedge.
description of it. Come on.
All right. Yeah, you go into the Hedge
I'm
and
just
Hedge.
going to work on a whole list of, like, foliage themed.
Yeah. Cool. You head into the Hedge and Hedge. As you head back that ways, you notice a couple of puddles. And what was the purpose of this little robot?
He had no
Just can.
idea what they were talking about, and he can.
So he got bored
make
and he
things-
just made a thing.
Yeah, he knows magic. He can like animate it a little bit. You know, it's kind of it'll be nice for the kids. That's all.
Oh, cool.
On the road out of the church, Julio would whisper to Bron and say, "I think the kids would find it very cool. And
Thank you.
after all this stuff is done and everything is back to normal, if you could, come to my church and like talk a little bit about your magic science, that would be very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure lots of kids and adults too would find it fascinating."
Yeah, your church is sorry.
Yeah, Shayax has been sort of wandering along with this as well, and he said, "So you make things, do you? Is that your
Yeah, yeah, I can always feel the kind of the rhythm of the older heart flowing through all of nature, and it's pretty easy. You can kind of redirect it a little bit, store it in leaves and direct it with branches and sticks and channels in wood and stuff. Yeah, you could do all sorts of kind of things. It's great fun.
Well, if you would like to come and work in the temple, you're very welcome to, and I'd love to see what else you make."
Your temple feels amazing.
Yes, it does, and he just sort of turns and beams at Julio, and it's a little bit like it's very platonic, it's very ace, but there's definitely love in his eyes as he looks at Julio, and yeah, he's just sort of, yes, it does. It gives one purpose. Well, I shall go and make my investigation. I'll see you later, Julio. Bron.
Yeah, stay safe.
And
Thank you, Shayax. Take care.
Thank you, Colonel. Cool. And he goes.
Bye.
And then it's there.
And fuck you, Eric.
And he does give a salute. Sort of, but he just doesn't give a verbal sort of fuck off.
Can I, if we come across one of these black puddles, I would love to examine it more closely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, not too close. We'll keep a little bit of a distance.
Maybe.
A little taste test, perhaps. A little.
Yeah. What's the
It's
worst?
not
thing?
wrong.
I'm not going to rub it on my gums just yet. Would that be survival, investigation, perception, arcana?
Probably. What are you trying to determine?
I guess it's elemental alignment.
That would be nature then.
Nature.
Or
Flavor,
religion, if it's
definitely
better.
most important.
I will guide you.
That is a whopping 7.
With a guidance, I don't know if it's going to make much difference, but you can try.
I is afraid.
Ooh.
Unless you
Wait,
threw
are you-
bardic inspiration at it.
What were you doing? Was that investigation?
Nature.
Nature.
Nah.
So you could always seeing
Cash,
as
do you want to verbalize your question?
yeah.
What are you wondering?
Nice.
Let's not meta this
Nice.
shit. Let's work this out. Yeah.
Karen used the rabbit method. Stick your tongue on it.
Chad is very keen for this.
Why does everyone want me to lick things? It's making me a little uncomfortable.
Welcome to the internet, Kieran. There's an established
Yay.
fetish. Yeah.
You just got to monetize it. That's all.
Yeah.
Mind you, apparently this lip color went viral because apparently it was the perfect shade of pink, which they judged by comparing it to a rabbit's tongue.
Oh.
Apparently a
no.
rabbit's tongue is the perfect shade of pink, so someone found out what lipstick was the same color as a
Didn't do
rabbit's
this.
tongue.
You did this.
No rabbits harmed in the making of this lipstick.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Hopefully not. I imagine the others will like see Kesh kind of lean over this puddle and squint at it a bit.
Cash, don't get too close to the puddle of death elemental, please.
Are we sure it is a puddle of death elemental? Because I'm not really getting a read on it.
Havel seems to think so.
Hey, Kesh, you have that thing that you can do, the boom, and you sense all the things.
Oh, that's right.
We use it once per campaign.
Yeah.
My primeval awareness.
Kesh gets God mode very briefly and just senses everything within a mile. Actually, it's within 6 miles because you're in your favorite terrain. So yeah, you do that.
Cool. I was like, hang on, let me just get in tune with nature.
Boom. Kesh.
Gets out a tuning fork.
Yeah.
Constellation starts pulsing with light.
Yeah, absolutely. Kesh's eyes go white and glow slightly, the same color as the constellation on her cheek. Bron goes, ooh. And Kesh, you can sense very close by there is a celestial, as in it's in Julio's pocket.
Makes sense.
There is I think the last time you did this, you sensed about 100 elementals. And you had a vague idea of where they were. There are some... They were all sort of clustered in the roots. There is probably about 20 more now. And not all of them are in the roots. There is 2 in the trunk, round about where the trunk market is, and a couple moving up and down the sides of the tree. Like you would guess within the tree. Then
Are we standing right in front of an elemental?
no. However, you do get faint traces of one, but it's not here now.
Could I find a stick to poke it with?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's poke it with things. Yes, for science.
You're in a tree, but you're in the roots underneath the tree, so sticks are not that plentiful. But you can find something to poke it with, no problem. You poke it with
I
a stick.
can make tools.
All right, make tools to poke it with for science.
I need a stick. I need a stick
Yes.
to poke it with.
Dash,
yes, I've got
you're
you right here. Yes,
By all
I'm
means.
just like pulling out. Sorry.
There is also worthy to note, there is within 6 miles of you, 6 undead. And 1 other celestial.
By all means, Kesh, you're the colonel here, so feel free to
Not
poke the
tell
thing with a
us,
stick
but-
if you want.
I just want to see if it reacts to physical stimuli, which is a legitimate scientific question.
I was going to propose I try to set the thing on fire and purify it, but if you want to go with a stick, then you can do that.
Look, if I
we've got a
poke it with a
deep
stick and it if I poke it with
Something
a
of
stick
the sort?
and it tries to kill me, then you can purge it with fire.
Fire.
Certainly.
This is a great idea.
You dabble in fire too, Bron?
It's been
Yeah, I'm working on a deep fryer right now,
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool.
so we can make the hash of brown wherever we need, which is delicious.
Julio, why didn't you tell us about this?
because he's been back for
yes.
like an hour. And
Why am I
someone tried to
suddenly
abduct
thinking about
people.
deep fried streaky back bug bacon?
Hell yeah.
I mean, we're on the
Go
way to
on, Pope.
pub, so
Poke the thing with a stick, and I'll stand by with some fire.
You
I
poke
did-
the thing with a stick.
Yay! I read quickly. It has to be. You can magically create one set of artisan's tools. So maybe you poke it with a paintbrush.
nice.
That'll do.
Most of a paintbrush is in fact a stick.
A stick,
Yep.
right?
Love it. So you poke it with a long-handled paintbrush, and actually, paintbrush is about the most perfect tool for this. So you poke it in one spot, and the paintbrush goes in quite a long way, but you can feel they're fairly stiff bristles, because it's a rough job and you didn't make a particularly nice paintbrush. That the bristles go in deeper. They don't bend back, but it meets resistance where the bristles come out, and yeah, it's like the ground at the bottom of the puddle, which is only about 3 inches deep, is porous. Like it's sort of like it's the way it's an entry point that only an ooze could use.
Oh. I think these are how the users are getting around, because like the bottom is like just like a raccoon just poking a puddle with a paintbrush.
Spongy.
It's spongy. It's got like little holes in it, so an ooze could get through. I mean, I couldn't fit through the hole, but an ooze could.
Fascinating.
Is that patch of grass? Is that a natural occurrence? Cash, that
No.
sponginess there, or
No.
is that like grass or like space prepared for the bulls?
It looks like this is not normal. It's could be. It is a divot where there should be no divot. A puddle where no puddle should form. Also, there's nothing dripping down from above, and you're underground. So this is an upwelling. And the fact that it does resemble sap is probably noteworthy. This is something that the tree is weeping. And yeah, it's not nice. But this is probably an open wound in the older heart effect.
Ah, that's depressing. Can I use the paintbrush to try and brush some of the puddle away from the edge so I can kind of see what the bottom looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have to sweep quite hard. It's not that viscous, but yes, you can. And yeah, sort of the texture of sea sponge. Hey, Riveljacks.
It's like a dark sponge hole thing. This is very weird.
Yes, that's certainly not natural.
If this is sort of like a wound in the older heart, are we poking it with a paintbrush? Is that what we're doing?
It's a very big tree. It's probably fine. And the wound's already there.
Wow.
You're not making
DM,
it worse.
After Cash has done a good as job as she can of
Poking
clearing the not sap away,
Uh-huh.
you let me know if this can work or not, but I've done plant growth for weirder things. I would like to reach down and touch, not on the hole, but like near the hole.
Around it. Yeah.
Touch the hole.
Come on, you pussy. Touch the hole.
It has a 100-foot radius. I'm wondering if I can help to promote the Auto Heart's growth to close up all the holes within a 100-foot radius.
Sure. There'd probably only be this one in 100 feet radius, maybe two.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That
No, you don't. But you can.
Before Eric does that, I'll kind of withdraw the paintbrush. Does any of the puddle stick to the paintbrush?
Yep. Like in the
Has
manner
anyone
of
got a
paint.
flask?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure I must have a flask somewhere.
Yeah.
I open my mouth and I'm like, Bron has a flask, doesn't he? He's got a little jar or something.
Don't put it in your mouth.
That's what she said.
no.
Drink the ooze. Drink the ooze.
Put it down.
Drink the ooze. Lick the
What is
brush.
this session suddenly? One person is poking the holes, and the other is putting things in their mouth.
It's the same person.
Yeah, Raiders, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's not put foreign things in our mouths. We remember what happened to what was the guy who we hung out with
Bennick?
last time?
That guy that you hung out with for like 16, 17 episodes.
God.
A guy you had several fairly heavy-duty life and death adventures with, including the Tar Lord incident.
Let's not forget what happened to Bennick's gender the last time he imbued some weird fluid.
Yeah.
I don't
He was
think
only
he
a girl
minded,
for about a
really.
week.
You guys have had the best adventures.
It's been a time, and I'm trying to scrape the puddle ooze off the paintbrush into this.
Into a jar. Cool. Helvig lasted at least a few more episodes. Actually, Bennick has canonically been in the world longer than Helvig. I'm going to weigh in on the cassery thing. I would call it a raptor, but a real big one. Okay. So, you managed to scrape some off, and then Eric casts plant growth, healing the... it does close up. You feel a distinct resistance as you do it, but it does... You sort of exert
I realize
yourself.
it's probably trying to expel the bad shit that's in it, but...
Yeah, that, but also... It's not the tree that's resisting.
Okay. And I can tell that?
I would say you're in tune enough with the Older Heart to know that it's not the tree that doesn't want this.
Okay.
And you've also experienced death-like magic before as well, fairly close hand. So yeah, this is whatever is in there doesn't want this closed.
Yeah. Yes, I think. I mean, it's probably obvious, but just to state the obvious, it seems like whatever this presence is, it is actively wanting to use the Older Heart as a method of transportation to get itself around.
Rude.
Yeah. Perhaps we could go to the pub now. There's a few things I
Really wanna have a
would
drink.
like to discuss.
And a drink. A drink.
Yes.
Hell yeah. In which
Yeah,
case,
so drinking Arthur's honor.
we will go.
Drinking whose honor, sorry?
Arthur.
Oh, right.
We will go to the hedge and we will have a little breaklet. Jeb Beans and Spilbees, absolutely. Or what's the one that begins with Q but isn't a quokka?
It's like a quill or
Oh, Quenda.
Gwenda, that's the one. Thank you. Yes.
My brain was like Qantas.
Quabala.
Qual, yeah. I was thinking of Quenda, but yes, Qual as well.
Qual as well.
Alrighty. So yeah, we've got a lot of silly
we've got a
names.
freaking banquet of
good for
tiny
Q names.
marsupials with weird
Yeah.
names over here.
Alrighty, so we will have a
Banquet, Karen.
short. Yeah.
It's not very
What is
big.
it,
You
banquet?
ever
We
tried
don't eat
quokka?
them.
They're delicious. Right, so what? They're not endangered. So we will go away and have a short breaklet, guys. Have a pee and come back. We'll be back in 5 to 10. Koala. I think it's spelled with a K. Be back in 5 to 10.
Quandicoot.
Quassify. Yes. Avast ahoy and g'day, mateys. We'll be back for some more Humblewood. The party have just rejoined to a tavern, the Hedge and Hedge, which is run by, amusingly, not a hedge person. You enter and it is a dingy affair. There is a single musician on a stage. However, they are conspiring to play a tambourine, a drum, like a single foot pedal drum, a tambourine with one elbow, whilst they also strum a lute. So they are making up a 3-piece band, but they're also like on their own. And they are playing. It's like fairly jolly, and it doesn't suit the surroundings at all. It's a fairly dingy, like you're underground. Light down here is expensive, so this place is lit by like moss candles and a fire rather than like properly nice candles. However, the bartender, a one-winged corvum named Storm, and only Julio would know his name, sort of greets you.
Hey, Storm.
Ar.
Good private table somewhere over there.
Ar.
And some food and drinks. A lot, probably.
Actually, yeah.
You sure
Storm.
just want to be yarp?
Yeah.
Yar.
Yeah.
DM, what is the vibe here? Does it seem like the kind of place where people want to be in the dark?
No, it seems more like this is, by the Underroot standards, quite a nice pub.
Yeah. Well, when I come in, I'll probably make some veiled noise of disgust, and I will cast Druidcraft, and I'll probably look at Julio pointedly and get like some luminescent mushrooms to start sprouting, or luminescent bulbs to start sprouting from the wood.
Ah.
Anyway, very, very cool. But remember how we talked about being more sensitive and doing less disgusted noises at poor people? It's not a good look.
It's okay, I fixed it. Anyway, let's go.
More drinks, please.
I'm gonna tip this guy up front.
You should be tipping me for giving him what?
Peasants.
Corvums in this world. Oh my god. Oh wait, he is a Corvum.
This is more classicist than racist, which
Yeah.
is also pretty bad.
very much on brand for Eric. It's like, I don't see fair, but poor people.
Yeah.
In Eric's defense, he has literally been trained to disdain poor people. So, you know,
Sure.
he's trying.
He is trying. Yeah. If you hadn't gone, Storm would be very grateful about the lights on the ceiling. All you've done, however, is suffuse the place with a warm blue glow and made it more clear how filthy it is. And
Well,
Storm
I
sort of
don't
looks
care
around
about that.
and goes,
It's
"Oh,
a pub, of course it's dirty.
oh."
I don't say that.
Okay.
Storm brings out food, and you find the most secluded booth, which is, there's plenty.
Yeah.
You pointedly don't make some mushrooms grow above the one you sit in.
Yes, yeah.
Why?
So there's a couple of things that come to mind. First of all, Bron, I realize that a lot of what we're talking about is probably a bit, not within your worldview yet. But so here, have you seen one of these before? And I hand Bron a glass orb with some engravings in it.
Ooh.
Are you distracting Bron with a shiny object while you three talk?
Look, I noticed that in our previous conversation, Bron distracted himself, and so I am, bending him halfway.
Right.
This is the coloring match in the restaurant, but we're artificer.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think the first thing Bron would do would lick it. Because it's a potentially magic rock.
He loves rocks. He really loves rocks. It's kind of like weird.
I can make you magic rocks. You will-
He can make
I
magic
have-
rocks.
Mhm.
It's his whole thing.
yeah.
Cool. I guess I look like, is there anything interesting about it, or is it just kind of a shiny ball?
This is a magical focus for the scrying spell.
Okay. Cool.
So I don't know whether you are able to identify that or you know that or not, but that's what he's handing you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your rock is pretty cool, Eric, but bronze rock can make darkness happen, so...
Oh, you want darkness to happen? I go to flick to the mushrooms. No, Josh.
Uh,
No, you're Brendan.
no, Eric.
No, I'm Eric.
I, Josh.
Yeah.
Who said
boy.
that?
I, Void.
So something that occurs to me that I didn't want to say in the presence of the life node is that, and I believe that we were told this on the plane of life or somewhere adjacent, that don't get me wrong, I think that the Older Heart is great and I do my deal of worship of it myself, but it is a notable presence of the plane of life on the material plane, and we were warned that this itself is something of a sign of war.
We discussed this with Naba, by the way. I also had this worry, and I brought it up. And there is a big distinction between something born of a life node and a life plane, and something that is being its presence. So, Older Heart is its own being now, and especially with this tier of Naba, I will be able to separate it even more from its patronage. So that by itself should not be a big issue.
But if beings from the other planes, or as it happens to be the other planes themselves, can sense its presence and they associate it with the life plane, then whether or not it was born of here at the moment doesn't seem terribly relevant. If it is perceived as a threat by the other planes, then we have to prepare to deal with those other planes trying to stake out their own claim of our realm, right?
Yeah, this is kind of why I was suggesting maybe to seek counsel from those who are theoretically aligned with the death plane, like Kath, for example. Cash, I remember you had a brief excursion to the plane of death. Did you not?
You're muted, madam.
Yes. Me and have to talk. I'm.
You what?
Yeah. I kind
the-
of went on a extraplanar thing with
Wow.
a friend of ours who got given a magical thing so he could go see his dead son. It's a long story, but I didn't.
Don't feel left out, Bron. Not everyone gets to speak to gods by themselves. Kesh has done it twice, and Julio has done it. I haven't done it, so you know.
But you did get
It's
to go to
coming.
that wedding.
And you did get to go to the wedding.
I did get to go to a wedding.
You've spoken
is
to
better than
Granny any
talking to a
number of
god.
times.
I apparently chose not to.
Yep. Ron legit said nah, which is even cooler, honestly, than talking to a guy.
Hey, Bolly, thanks very much.
Wait, so you were invited to talk to a god? What the-
Kind of. I mean, not really invited. It was just there.
And he didn't
Yeah.
It wasn't.
And Ron decided he didn't want it. It's pretty cool.
Just
Sorry.
casually.
Sorry, Kesh, continue.
Anyway, let's get on track. So, Hath, right? What do you think, Cash? Do you think we can seek their counsel on this one?
I mean, I'm just not sure how I would summon them again. Or
I'm
if
not
I
sure one can
I-
summon a god.
I mean, I can try, but
Traditionally,
wasn't
the way
like
one
they-
acquires the attention is praying.
sorry.
Traditionally, the way one acquires the attention of the god is praying.
Yes, I mean, I can pray to Hath, but it doesn't mean Hath will choose to communicate with me again.
You know who probably would be able to communicate for us? The archbishop whose name I forget.
Viscar.
Viscar.
Might do. So when Kesh went and casually had a chat with Kren, he was a bit like, what the fuck? So
Yeah. And I will say, Cash kind of has the symbol of Hath, and also has talked to them already. I feel like they're on a better standing.
Like,
Oh no, I'm saying Kesh obviously should try, but
I just
failing
can't promise
Viscar
any
might.
results. I d-
If anyone has a lot of prayer power banked up, it would be Viscar.
that's true.
Or maybe if we had
Prayer power.
message. We're familiar enough with Hath.
He's been here for 2 episodes, and he already.
Yeah,
He
and I
knows
already
it.
hate him just as much as you.
Whoa.
I'm not even sure John
I
knows
walked
the
in for 2
reference.
years in this- Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Are we trying to establish whether Hath specifically has a problem with the older heart,
No. I
or
feel like-
just whether they have a concept of who might have a problem?
Yeah. And I feel like if we could figure out what their beef is, that would be nice. Like, we're not thinking that Hath themselves are like part of this plot or whatever. That would be strange, because Naba was definitely against Earth plane getting onto the material plane, although she's aligned with it. I feel like understanding what could be the reason and the source of this, and also maybe getting the sense if Aldahart being aligned to the life plane is the reason or something else. Because it seems to me that these things happened without the connection to Aldahart before. Like, your mom, Eric, was under the influence and
Would you
power
please
of-
stop saying it like that?
John and I chuckled as well. I was like, your mama, Eric.
Your mama
what's wrong
is
with how I
so
say your
cursed.
mama?
We had to go to the life plane to get
I
the
mean,
thing to banish it.
It's genuinely just because Daria learned to speak English from memes.
I don't even notice it. I'm just saying things.
You absolutely phrase it the way you was. Your mama. It's
your
always the
mama.
way it feels like when you say it.
Thank you. I'll take it as a
Yeah.
as an
Oh,
advantage
dude, it's great.
Look, I believe that the source of that had something to do with the cult, and we know that at least in part, Kren sponsored that cult. Kren is of death. You know, Kren told us that the plane of air was preparing for battle. Perhaps that was misdirection for us to look into that, and not the blooming plane of death itself.
I don't think that's it, honestly. I feel like Kren's worries were substantial and quite real, and the way he went about doing all of that is perhaps inhumane and very ruthless, but I feel like, at least I believe that he was actually worried about the plane of wind, and I don't think we have concrete evidence that he was behind the plan to infect your mama with the death.
That is an inference you have made. Yeah, not a...
I mean, not directly, but the Fells seemed to have some awareness of it.
Yeah.
Can I possibly, I assume, would need to make a check, but just see who would possibly stand to gain from an obvious battle between the life and death planes, whether there would be another god or something that would be like, good.
The logic here would probably be the other elemental planes. That is an interesting point. Bron isn't from here. Bron, make a history or intelligence if you're, well, one way or the other. If it's history or otherwise not. Maybe religion. Actually, for you, it would be religion. Unless you're proficient in history.
I am proficient in neither,
Okay,
but I still
then
get +5 because int is my thing.
You are intelligent. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Oh.
Alrighty.
Maybe I can. Can I redo that? I can redo that.
Yeah.
With
From
my
your
flash of genius.
Hell yeah.
Somehow my tools helped me with
You also
religion.
have inspiration in case you need
Oh my
it.
god, yes I do. Anyway, I got a 16.
16. There you go. All right. One flash of inspiration later, and Bron, your education from a priestess of Naba. So the Nabaites had a different understanding of the nature of gods. And Naba was always very clear that there was a distinction between an Amaranthine and a god. And that Naba was an Amaranthine, not a god. Gods being a higher tier, or probably just a more powerful tier of celestial being. The elemental planes, you were always taught, were gods.
Okay.
And to a degree, sentient in and of their own selves.
And so would possibly stand to gain from this?
So if you were going to pitch a war between the life and death planes, the beneficiaries of that would be mostly the fire plane and the air plane, because they're the ones who apparently seem to have a vested interest in this neck of the woods.
Well, yes, I convey that as eloquently as I can. That yes, perhaps the fire and the air planes. Yeah, perhaps they would stand to gain something from this. So it might not be just like maybe they're set up, right?
Fire is definitely a little waning here right now. Like, fire's already done its dash. If it's going to have another stab, it needs to regain strength a little bit. But air, you have been told, or these guys have been told, is gathering its forces.
When life and death planes meet, what happens is void, the sense of nothingness. I suppose if the plane of air was behind this, they would create like this void of strength that they can fill then when they come. If we could somehow see who is behind, like what creature, who's behind the death planes trying to balance the scales, and let them know that the air, like the life plane, is not what is happening here. We have a separate being of all the heart that is gaining strength, and that is not something that is in opposition to them. If we could get that thought across, we might not only stop the invasion of the death plane, but also perhaps gain an ally against, this difference in balance that might happen in the future.
There is a worthy point, though, that you've just said there are 6 gods who are all fighting amongst themselves, and you are in the process of trying to create a 7th.
Yeah.
DM, am I aware, do the demi-planes where the main elemental planes meet, do they have the same level of consciousness?
No. It is more
no.
of a regional effect than a true plane of its own.
Yeah. I was thinking for a moment that potentially the forces of the void itself, that they would benefit from this.
I'm sorry,
this
I'm going to
meeting of
retcon
death
that
and
because
life.
it's way cooler. Yes, they do.
Yeah. Well, I think I've just invented the big bad of the season. Oops.
No. You kind of did, but it did already exist. But you just made a logical link in my head that I was like, wait, no, that is better. That's way cooler.
Wait.
Yeah.
Eric,
It's
could you
they are
explain-
kind of like children. They are not true gods themselves, but they are the children. They're sort of the children of the gods.
They're the culmination of these two forces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Julio.
So what is your hypothesis to kind of like condense everything for invisible people who might be watching?
Certainly. If the question is who or what may benefit from life and death clashing, there have been several good points made. Potentially the plane of air, although my question would be how the plane of air is manipulating the plane of death. My hypothesis would be the main beneficiary of this conflict would be the void. The what happens when these two forces meet. If there is enough of the void in existence somewhere that it has conscious will, then of course it would want to grow itself. And what better way to do it than to make its mummy and daddy fight here? And this is now the new home of the void.
And I mean, if all the other gods are in balance, and the older heart is becoming a god, maybe it needs a balance.
Yeah. I hope that doesn't mean that there is a death tree coming, but that
a void
actually
tree
kind of checks out.
Void tree.
Well, a death tree that meets with our
Can we
older
stop
heart,
giving
and then,
DM ideas?
Anyway.
Can we stop? Can we
Death
not
tree
do
is
this?
so good.
Anyway, all this is theorizing. There's not much that we can prove right now.
If the void is nothing, how can nothing plan or strategize or do anything? It's a lack of.
Maybe it does not strategize. Maybe it just expands, like hunger, like Anyway, it is all theories and conjecture right now. I think it is still quite advantageous to us to talk to Hath if we can, and maybe understand what they think and relay that this is not us expanding the life plane. Because even if they are manipulated, or even if they decided by themselves, for us it is very important to keep any of the different planes out of the material plane, because anyone gaining control is kind of sucks for the plane itself.
Then it sounds like we're going to have to use that stone of yours to sever the Order Heart's connection to the plane as soon as possible. If that's what you want, that's going to be necessary.
We could also go west, like the song, which is where the mill high disappeared. Maybe if we follow them, we will bump into
Right.
whatever disappeared them.
Well, speaking of Mihai, actually, may I have the orb back, please?
Yeah. This is a scrying orb, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I know Mihai, so I can scry on her and
Don't you have
potentially see where she is. No.
No, I'm going to cast a spell that requires a 1,000 gold piece item. Hey, Alexander Nord, good to see you, mate.
There are a couple of conditions which may prevent me from seeing Mihai.
Yep.
Those
Those being.
being Mihai's death,
Yep.
something more powerful than me, specifically
No,
wanting to keep me out,
Yep.
or potentially if she's on another plane. I can't remember if that's a thing or not. Yes, my instinct is telling me yes.
I can't remember either, but let's find out. Cast the spell,
sure.
Eric.
I'm
What
pretty
does it
sure
look
if
like
they're on a
when-
different plane, there's a chance that you don't succeed.
Hmm.
I'm gonna
It might
look it
be. That's sending, but I don't know if it's also scrying. But yes.
Yeah.
Bishop Blood,
yeah.
the material plane is literally when you blend the other 6 elemental planes. So it's not the plane of flesh, it's the plane of everybody. Yeah. Yes.
It
pop them
does
in a blender.
specifically say same plane of existence as me.
Yeah. Okay. You cast. What does it look like when you do this?
Bron might have noticed as well. It would be in bird language, so but I think most people know it. But he would have noticed that there would probably be in bird script. I don't know, I can't remember if we actually invented one or not, but it would be the Shadow Malt.
Crest?
What is the non-commercial thing for slogan? I guess they're words.
Oh yeah, the
Motto.
motto.
Motto. Yeah.
Almost
Yes,
certain
so
we
that
did,
would
but it was
be
a while ago.
inscribed.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So it's a clear
It's
glass
always
ball.
watching.
Yeah.
Always watch.
Bird folk supremacy. I will
All good.
grasp it in my talons, and a small spark of fire will appear, and will grow a little bit, and then it will take on the form of a fiery bird.
Mm.
And Erica will just stare transfixed at this.
Sure. And looking within the flames, you can see Mihai sitting on a single bed in a fairly dingy-looking room, talking to a. You can't hear her, I don't believe, but you can see her talking to.
I can see and hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
In which case, you can see and hear her talking to a little orange slime with a skull in it. The skull has been inscribed with runes. And yeah, it's the skull of you would guess, a Mapatch or a Vulpin. And yeah. But
Does the skull seem to be animating?
Yes. The skull is where it should be if the thing had a skull. It's sort of sitting in there, and it has the ooze has a vague facsimile of a head skin around it. And Mihai is saying, "Thank you so much. This is very comfy, actually. This is way better than sleeping on the floor. This is great." And the ooze is responding, but it's just sort of slurpy slapping noises.
That should have been the name of the episode. Slurpy
Slurpy
slapping
slapping noises.
Oh,
Yeah.
would create
just-
a wrong crowd in here. Would create a
That's
different audience.
It's a different greeting to everyone. Slurpy slappy noises to you in the morning.
That's
How
the
about
Don't you
list
hate
slap-
it when you're
wake up I
sleeping and
hear.
you wake up to slurpy
Slappy noises. I don't know. I love that. So
TMI,
Okay.
but go on.
So I assume by that I can't understand them. Does
Nope.
Mihai seem to be able to understand?
no.
Yeah.
But
Do I get-
she acts as though she does, and goes like, yeah, thank you. I know it's great. But like, and
Does
both
she
of them seem quite happy.
happy or content?
Content is the wrong word. She seems chill. She doesn't seem on edge, but there is an element. No, that's the wrong thing to say. She actually does seem on edge, but she is also. I don't think she fears for herself right now, but she is like under duress, I suppose.
Do I infer that she's better off than she has been within the last couple of days,
Yes.
based on what she said?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And we don't
Right.
see this, right? This is just Eric.
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's just me, but I can relay it in a sec.
Yeah. She's also clearly underground.
Okay. Any light coming in from outside?
No.
Okay. And when you say she's clearly underground, are there stone walls, or do they seem to be made up of roots, or are they made up of soil?
It is root and dirt with a stone floor, which would distinguish it from most houses, basements, or any buildings in the roots. Not at all. It is not a very
it's
specific.
unfamiliar architecture.
It could be anywhere
Oh.
within the Humblewood.
Yeah. Okay.
It could be in the roots. It could not be, just as easily.
Sure.
Basically, any house built, most of the settlements in the Humblewood are built under or in trees.
Yeah.
Not just the older hut. So, if you had to guess, you'd say there was about a 60-70% likelihood this was in the older hut, but nowhere near a guarantee.
I'm not being weird. What's the state of her clothing? Does it seem to be tattered or partially dissolved?
I mean, she's been here for about a week and a half. It's not great. It's badly stained. Partially dissolved bits. Definitely tattered, but no one has, like, pulled it open. She hasn't been assaulted or anything like that. It's just general wear and tear. Probably not in Saltar's Point, no. Unless...
Wow.
No, it's not. That would probably be the one place in the world.
Espinarigo!
Probably not, yeah. The only other...
Do I get anything else?
No, not really. I don't know how long the spell lasts for, but yeah, she's basically... after
It's up to 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, after this, she would basically just sort of lie back on the bed. In fact, you can make me a perception check as she does that.
Great. Okay. This is leading in a direction I wasn't expecting.
I'm really glad you warned me that you were going to do this.
23.
As she lies back, the bed jiggles
Yeah.
in the manner of a jelly.
Yeah.
Little waterbed.
It could be a waterbed. Could be a waterbed.
Does the other ooze leap?
Yes, it does. It heads out to the door and oozes straight through it.
What about the skull?
The skull goes with. It goes very floppy and sort of... It's... Most of the ooze just passes between the cracks in the wood of the door. The skull has to sort of drop down. It's like you're pulling something on the other side is trying to like... And eventually it drops down to the ground and goes very rubbery and gets sort of yeeted underneath the door at the last.
Okay. Does she... Are there, like, amenities there? Is there, like, a hole for her to go in
There's a
when she
bucket.
needs? There's a bucket. Okay, that's interesting. I really hope the bucket doesn't jiggle either.
You do not
Oh,
see
The
no,
her
bucket
actually.
doesn't jiggle jiggle.
It goes under the door.
Does she look like she's been fed? Or maybe it's
She's not
probably too
haggard.
early to tell.
She's not haggard, but yeah, she's not markedly thinner than she was.
Sure.
Maybe a little
Okay.
bit. Just generally, she's not had the best fortnight.
Yeah. Does she look relieved when the skull ooze leaves?
No. If anything, she watches it go with a little bit of distaste, like as it goes on, it's like, and rolls over, putting her back to the door, and sort of curls up around herself a little bit, like now she's alone. So she clearly doesn't like being alone, but she doesn't. She is very silent. She's very quiet. Hard to infer exactly why, I suppose. But she doesn't seem glad that it's gone.
Okay. Oh.
You okay?
Hello.
Anything interesting?
Yes, quite. I found her, so she's definitely on this plane.
Good.
She seems comfortable to a degree. She's in a cell. She has a bed, although the nature of the bed is somewhat jiggly. She was being attended to by an orange ooze with a. Did you say Vulpin or you said Vulpin skull?
Vulpin or Map Edge.
Vulpin-ish.
Yeah, Vulpin adjacent.
By a Vulpin or Mapatch skull in it, which was animating. It wasn't just like floating there. They seemed to be catering to her needs to some degree. She's underground. I had no idea where. But she was a little on edge, but she didn't seem terrified for her life.
Okay.
So if she's alive.
She is certainly captive.
Potentially the others are also alive.
If the same thing that took them took her.
That's just a trick.
It does look like she had been sitting within a slightly acidic ooze for some time.
Yeah.
What would be the reason to keep them captive? They're not asking for a ransom or anything.
Yeah.
The cult kidnapped many people while they were in power.
Right, but that was different. They
It was.
didn't just keep
They
them there.
weren't
And the
oozes.
oozes, yeah, they seem to be sentient and, well,
Unless they're building up to something.
I would
Yeah.
suggest at this point, as the DM, that there's some really good really good thought, like this is a really good brainstorming session, but I would say you don't possess enough information to reach anything close to the true conclusion.
yeah, for sure.
At this point.
The worst place that my mind goes to is that they could be being held for a sacrifice.
Oh.
So
Well,
they
if they're
may.
being held for a sacrifice, why would they give her a bed and make her a bit more comfortable? Like,
Great
doesn't
question.
really make sense. Okay,
There
well,
are
that
a
means
lot of questions.
that means though that some of these oozes at least are sentient and can communicate and make their own decisions. So perhaps we'll be able to next time we find an ooze-like creature to try and talk or discern something out of them.
If it's intelligent, it can be negotiated with to a degree.
Exactly.
that
And ultimately,
is-
ultimately our like what are we trying to do, right? What is the goal that we are trying to reach? We want to bring the people back we want to make sure that Alderheart is not, for lack of a better word, oozing like yucky
Being
stuff
corrupted.
and
Not
and
infected.
and that the death plane, if it is involved, is appeased, knowing that Alderheart will be very soon separate from the life plane and will be its own thing.
You know that if the older heart is separated from the plane of life, then that would have implications for your church.
I know, but I don't know. Frankly, no one knows what will happen when we give the tear to Alderheart. This has never happened before. I don't suppose Alderheart will be like, yes? What is it, Theo?
It has happened once before.
Do we know
God
that?
has been created once. It was Hath.
I thought Hath just was Constellations and decided to become God.
Pretty much. But he was worshipped. Hath is the only one that would qualify as a god, not an amaranthine.
This makes so much sense even more to talk to Hath, but anyway, I digress. The thing is, we don't know what's gonna happen if we feed the tear, but I'm afraid to do it before we cure the Alderheart, because we have one chance at this.
If we make it an amaranthine and sick, that's not great.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
good call.
Alderheart, the ill god. Yeah, cool.
The
All right,
Alderheart.
Nice.
Is there a way to establish how the Alderheart feels about this?
You can ask it.
Well,
You actually can
yeah, we
ask
can-
it.
I freely communicated with Alderheart before.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You can ask the Alderheart. The other thing is, I would point out, Granny did say, "Hey, I'll talk to you later," with a meaningful like, "Hey, actually, come talk to me." And there will be a like, yeah. She said she would do her own digging, and may have more information to provide you this afternoon. Like, she wanted to meet you ASAP.
We need to update your granny as well. She'll want to know what's going on.
Yes, of course.
Where did she want us to meet her?
Her office, I believe.
In that case, might I suggest we go through the secret tunnel, show Braun the works, because we have a secret hideout.
Yeah.
And also, on the way up the tree, I would very much want to swing by our little church there, our little what's the word? Not security.
The chapel.
Sanctuary?
Cathedral.
Sanctuary, yeah.
In the secret
Sanctuary,
tunnel.
and yes,
Yeah.
and ask Alderheart there what it feels about it.
Well, then let us do that, and then we'll probably wrap it up for the evening. So, yeah, you take Bron up the stairs. You actually have to leave the root system, go out and around the Alderheart a little bit to find the secret entrance at the base of the tree to your secret tunnel. And you climb about 1 kilometer's worth of stairs. There's a lift, but you wanted to take the stairs. So, it's
one other thing.
leg day.
It occurs to me that we were kind of speaking about contacting people with some knowledge of the plane of death. We all happen to know a couple of people who are actively investigating the plane of death. Bennick, that's what Bennick left to do with Nevermore. So that may be a
Bennick.
potential for us to. Yes, Bennick. You know Bennick.
But Eric is being facetious. Bennick is another friend of ours, very powerful wizard.
Cool.
Didn't
So
used to think
that's
that.
just. Yeah.
Yeah.
They may
Cool.
know nothing, but they have been actively investigating the plane. So
Yeah.
anyway,
It's where they are. Cool. You head on up the stairs, roundabouts and twists and turns a little bit. Actually, this one is fairly straight up to as Bishop Blood puts it, the shrine of twig and root, which I kind of like actually. The secret chapel, and yeah, I do wonder what they get up to. Seeing as Mitch's baby boy has been born, maybe we can have Nevermore back soon, and investigate that further. So. You do that. You head up in there. You find yourselves in the Shrine of Twig and Root, and it's real pretty. It's like an indoor garden. The walls are covered in lush moss, vines, and other growths. Not all of it is Alderheart tree related, but it does all seem to be growing out of the Alderheart. In one corner there is a snack buffet, but it's all growing on the vine at the time. There is nuts and berries all just growing out of it. There is a comfy play area where you basically like just big piles of moss, and there is a couple of scooped out dishes of they're beds, but they're like low hammocks, sort of carved out
A couple
of
of
the wood.
bean bags.
Yeah, and just generally a really cool, groovy place. The window at one end is just one massive leaf with the veins covering it, and it looks like a stained glass window, but it's just a big leaf over this rough window shape. And yeah, Julio, you're as you enter this place, the flowers on your cloak all sort of prick up, like they've come home.
That's cool.
Okay. Yeah, Julio will sit in front of the window, really like focus on being attuned to the Alderheart, and basically like feel the moss with his fingers, and ask, Alderheart, we know something's wrong. If you could tell us or show us what is happening to you, give us the information, because I want to help you. And Julio will open a palm with the tear and say, if you want this now or after we have healed you, let me know.
Make me a religion check. Always what we
Okay.
do. So here comes that now 20.
I hoped at this point we have like
We were
evolved
beyond
past
this,
religion,
but
so-
no.
Yeah, but I guess sure, I'll do it then. Okay, first is 16. I will try to use my inspiration on this, because
Yep.
I definitely want to succeed, and I will also guidance myself.
Yeah.
That's better. That's
Chelsea
dirty 20
Yep.
with a D4. So 22.
22. Julio, it's at this point it's really about determining how big the headache is afterward. Because you were talking to a almost deity level thing, and yeah, a couple of people have tried this and died. So you do it on the regular, but it likes you, and it's very much being gentle with you as it caresses your brain with its leaves. And you do very much feel that. You feel a soft, like walking through some branches. You feel that physical sensation wash down you, and it says it says home to you, and with a tone of welcome. And then it says, you see in your mind's eye the tear, and it says wait. In fact, with the tone of needs more.
Mm-hmm.
One is not enough, sort of thing. And then you see in your mind's eye its circulatory system.
Ooh.
And you can, it sort of, you see it as if from a distance and see through, and you can see channels of life energy basically just running through it like water pumping, and it's handy. And at various points, about 4 different places in the trunk, you can see little black beads of darkness moving within this circulatory system. Your eyes are sort of, your focus is sort of drawn to them. You do notice, however, that nothing gets higher in the trunk than where you currently are. As in nothing nasty. Everything is sort of stopped at about this level. But you can, extending out your senses, feel the location of dozens of uprising points, analogous vaguely to, and I don't like it, but zits. where the pressure has popped out and these little dark ooze things are capable of leaving. There are dozens in the roots alone, and more, a couple of dozen more above the root level, rising up to this point. There are 2 or 3 and in the trunk market, which is close by to where you are, and just slightly above. That is the closest and the only ones that are this level. All the others are below.
And that doesn't seem to be like a center point of the.
Oh,
like...
sorry, no, there is absolutely in the if that's what you were asking about, in the roots there is a congestion, I suppose is a good way of putting it. It feels like phlegm in your throat just before you cough. And yeah, there is, but it's not in the tree, it's near it. It's like it's sitting in a puddle of the stuff. And it is to the west of the chapel in the roots.
Okay. I will thank all the heart and say I will do everything I can to stop this and to get you healthy again. Thank you.
And you feel one more time that brush of leaves down your back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think going west, as Bron has suggested before, is a good idea. It seems that there is a congestion, like a center mass of whatever this blight is. But interestingly, nothing in that infected part of the roots gets further up than this place. Perhaps because this place has been thoroughly blessed. So at least not the entire tree is sick right now, which is good.
I wouldn't want to give it much time to develop.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely not.
It sounds like what you're describing might be a death node.
Oh.
It might not be. But
Julio, you would have seen in that sort of overlay 3D vision the life node. This doesn't register like that, but not yet.
Okay, so Eric, you might be on the right track, and if we stop it in time, the death note would not be formed.
Right. Well, if the death node hasn't been formed, my question would be, how has this stuff gotten here? But
I don't know.
The only way that we might answer that is if we check it ourselves.
Yeah. So we need to get information from the speaker and probably rush back down and deal with it as fast as we can.
Look, I think this is good. Grandmother obviously likes to give orders, but she doesn't suffer fools gladly, so she should be glad that we have some information to present to her.
Yes.
So my question to you guys is, are you up for a conversation with Granny, or shall we call it here for the evening? John is
I
the
think
one
we
who-
should speak to Grandmother before we check this thing.
Oh, absolutely. I meant Josh is asking the players, not the characters. Basically, John,
I'd be down to for.
you're the one who is. It's later for you than the rest of us.
I defer to John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're up for another 20 minutes of game before we do favorite moments, if that works for you, then we'll keep going.
20 minutes is good. Yep.
Awesome. Alrighty. Then you go up and see Granny. And that way we can actually get on to the meat and veg of the meat of the adventure next week.
Yeah.
So, yes, a Strig in the uniform of the Perch Guard and a Mapatch in the Wildwood Brigade colours escort you to Iari's chambers. I'm going to say, Kesh, that while Julio was looking at the sky and listening to the sound, you went up through the tunnels to the Wildwood Brigade headquarters and issued the necessary orders to get those
Yes, I will.
those patrols downstairs going.
Yeah, and then I'll wait near the appropriate.
Yeah.
Exit.
And that would be the fastest way to get up to the council chambers anyway. So you guys, the rest of the other three of you, would come out in the basement of the Wildwood Brigade headquarters in the canopy of the tree. There is now, it is still a disused storage cupboard, deliberately, and that you come out into. However, there is a guard not outside the door, but guarding a different door in the same corridor with eyes on the door. And who gives you a single solemn nod, notes Bron, and sort of you can see him squirreling that away in his brain for next time, like, all right, that guy's apparently allowed. He's fortunately quite distinctive looking. So yeah, you meet up with Kesh, you head up to the council chambers, and you get escorted into CERE. You have been in here before, except for Bron, obviously, and though the first time these chambers belonged to Beta, and the second they were very briefly Sobel's. I think only Eric came in here while they were Sobel's, but yes. And this time around, Iari, like her predecessors, has put her own mark on the room. The brightly coloured furnishings have been changed out for a more sombre, muted affair, which, while still no doubt pricey, do not reek of luxury in the way that the previous ones did. The portraits of previous speakers remain, although they have been rearranged. Most prominent are Beta and Iari's great-grandmother, Isperia. Sobel is absent, and there was a picture of Sobel in here at one point. He rushed it in real fast. It looked like he already had it, and just was like, there we go, that's that.
He'd had it prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Just in case I need that. Yeah.
Classic colonialism.
Yeah.
Here's a flag I prepared.
Here's one I prepared earlier. Thank you all for coming promptly, and Colonel, the Colonel has no doubt discussed with you. We have a problem, and I thought it may be worse than I thought. So I have done some digging while you were gathering, and it would seem this is not an isolated incident, though this is the first time a large group of people witnessed it. Possibly they were waiting. I do myself some favour to suspect they possibly were after me, and they got the little one as a bonus. Or
as a distraction.
Well, exactly. That one was first, so interesting. But I imagine they were trying to get me, and that was just the best chance they had. Though I don't know why. I don't know what they're wanting, and having me hostage doesn't actually do them any good. I can't do anything without the council saying so.
It would be a parallel to the Cult of Titans' previous activities.
I suppose. Well, this is what I'm going to ask you to get to the bottom of, my dear. There are stories of puddles and slicks of a strange, slimy sap as high as the mid-trunk, although mysteriously it sort of stopped getting any higher than that, which is good, but I can't guarantee it'll continue. So, I have a potential direction of an investigation for you, if you haven't already found something out of your own. Have you actually made any tracks?
We have made a few interesting discoveries. I think Eric and Julio, respectively, are probably the best to sum it up.
Oh, please do. Eric, what did you find?
Eric makes a slightly curious look at Kesh.
I'm referring to you scrying me high, in case that wasn't clear.
Oh, no. It's more like, I was prepared to let you do the talking. I have checked in on one of the missing people that I happened to be familiar with. She is still alive, and her captors seem to be making some efforts to keep her comfortable. To what end, who knows? But we are aware that she was last spotted heading west of the trunk. So, yes.
Good. Her captors being, did you get any sight on any of them?
Ooze.
Yeah.
Oh.
An orange
yes.
one, though, not a black one.
An orange with a skull? Yes.
Bizarre. Well, that actually. So I believe now the reports were not given due credence, and I have had words with the Watchmaster in question. Just investigate everything. Fuck it. Why not? Come on. In fairness to him, he has been busy getting his head around everything. But that. Anyway, there were a couple of reports of slimes with bones in them. And not just, I devoured this delicious person and some of their bones are still in me. More like they had bones. But of course, slimes don't have bones, which is why the Watchmaster dismissed this out of hand. Which is, I think, well, look, anyway. So that's interesting. What fascinates me is that slimes aren't sentient. Or at least that is generally understood to not be the case. Yet,
The
these
one that I
slimes are-
spotted certainly was.
It was communicating
Right.
somehow, in some way.
I see. Well, then you have
It was
encountered
actively
a new
meeting
species.
needs of
Yes.
of its captive. Yes.
Right.
It didn't seem to have any form of language that we were capable of understanding, but it was making attempts to communicate.
Yes. Well, all right. So next interesting thing, the slimes of the mock fields are, or were until quite recently, in a state of migration. Now, I am not certain that this is to do with anything. You see, the mock fields, the bogs were drying up. They're not anymore. That has been resolved. A team from the Avium was sent, and this is rather hush-hush. Council member Lee instigated this herself. She has contacts and ties with the Avium, so I left it to her. Council member Lee is a Mapatch and an Avium graduate. In fact, she was the star pupil of Korvax Ravania at one point. She is a divination wizard of almost, like, she is a well-respected divination wizard. And she was elected to the council, which is rather cool. She says, Lee let everybody, told me specifically that the team from the Avium that was sent have reported that they communicated with slimes there. Apparently, when you get enough slime together, it gets smarter.
That
Right.
would reflect what we know about elementals. The smaller and weaker the elemental, the less intelligence and conscious will that it has. The stronger it is, i.e., the more elemental plane that is a part of it, the more intelligent it is. So
Exactly.
this would align with these being elementals of some kind.
Yes.
Would it be possible to find out how they managed to communicate with the slimes?
I
That might
believe
be-
it was the slimes were speaking. It was just very, very slowly.
Oh,
One of them was a chronomancer and was able to slow the speech down or speed it up, and therefore make themselves able to understand.
So
fascinating.
a slime was a chronomancer.
No. One of the wizards sent to
Oh, okay.
investigate the.
Wow.
The world
Time slime.
quakes. Time slime.
Time
exactly.
slime.
Time slime. I want to play time slime. That's my next class.
DM, do I think I don't imagine I would be able to translate the message, but looking back at what I heard earlier, does that seem to track that was just very slow speech, or does it seem different?
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's not within outside the realms of possibility. If it was, you might not have been common. But this is they were talking to a Jerbine, and I don't believe you speak Jerbine. But Jerbine is quite high pitched and different sounding language. She says, "Well, that's interesting, Mr. Julio, Sir Julio, I believe it is now."
Well, yeah. Who stands on those official titles? Anyway,
Look at Granny.
Julio's like, only an idiot would. Oh my God. So I've communicated with the older heart, and
That is
we-
still rocking my socks off.
yeah, but
And
the
how
thing
is
that
it?
we
How is the
right,
enormous
I-
tree in which we live?
Yeah, so your information on the rot spreading up to about a middle, but not further, is correct. I have seen with my own eyes the energy system of the tree, and it does not go further up than that, at least
Good.
yet.
Right.
Yes. And
Any idea what's
west
stopping
of
it?
no,
You've
well, we
been there.
have a thought, but something
chapel.
important. Yes.
I see. Well, that's good.
Yes, it's unfortunate that the chapel in the roots did not stop anything. That is, it has protected itself, but not the surrounding area. But
Possibly
something else.
it kind of infected before it noticed, and now it's aware of it. It can try and resist.
Might I
Perhaps.
posit a thought?
Yes.
The temple in the trunk is the older heart. The temple in the roots is a life node.
Yeah,
Different-
that's
different
very
things.
true. Yeah. So, speaking of the life node, west of the chapel and the roots, there is a gathering of this dark energy, and we have ground to believe that it is a beginning of a death node. If we stop this process soon enough, we can revert this and uh, get things back to normal. But if we don't act fast enough or find the root of the issue quick, we might have a death node right next door.
Right. Is this, and she turns back to Eric and says, something the tenders could potentially assist with?
That's exactly why I'm here. Tender have all sent me.
Good. Excellent. Well, then he is working fully within his remit and deserves a raise. Right. So, do you believe any of your other tender fellows could be employed in slowing the spread of this, were I to, for example, fully deploy the perch guard to protect them while they do it? Deploy a cordon around this area that you have detected, because my information suggests that I send you away from the older heart. There is a slime expert, a couple actually, but they both live in Winnowing Reach. Now, Winnowing Reach is a 2-day travel from here. One, if I give you some very quick method of travel, and I intend to, and I will also, and she reaches into her pocket and says, this partial payment for your work, but also just a matter of expedience from now on, and reveals it's a little bag, and she pulls out 4. It looks like there are more in it, but you only brought 4 guys with you. And she pulls out a quartet of stones, threaded with softly glowing green gold veins. Bron, you would maybe recognize this. The greeny gold stuff in them is a rare magically infused metal named halvesite. Which you have encountered exactly twice in your entire life, and it's exceptionally expensive. Yeah, there is a mine of it in the older heart, in the Humblewood, and it's a very, very lucrative place. These things, you would guess, probably cost about 1,000 gold apiece. Wow. Given the amount of halvesite in them, she says these are return stones, basically a one-way teleport trip to a specific place. They work, they're good for once a day, so don't abuse them. And yeah, don't overcharge them, otherwise they'll stop. And you break it, you buy it, I'm afraid. They are ruinously expensive. It's the only reason I can imagine Beta didn't give you any before is because, well, if you don't know, the Humblewood is a little cash-strapped right now, what with the Civil War and the rebuilding efforts, but we do what we can. But anyway,
our primary contact was what's her face? I've got it, Larimar. So no wonder that she didn't give them to us.
That's
Civil
true.
War.
I suspect
Yes.
she wanted to keep us away as much as possible.
Well, that's true as well. Well, good. And she is now currently. I mean, it looks like the trial is going to go ahead very soon. And I don't
Any
know
word
about
on
you.
Sobel?
Well, that is an ongoing concern, and I believe Major Glitterweave has actually been. Oh, sorry, Colonel. I apologize. Has been looking into that. And when we find out, but I think this is a bigger priority than Sobel and his gang of miscreants at this point. So if you give them one good squeeze, you will return to the Alderheart from wherever you are, provided you are on this plane. So, I know, Espinora, you can go there and blamf right back if you wanted to. They are, in fact, you would return to your semi-secret chapel business in the trunk. I thought that was the most appropriate place for you to rock up, and wouldn't startle very many people if you did so.
They're used to weird stuff happening in there.
Well, exactly.
There was a snack bar.
Yes, I have indulged myself. Fresh produce just cannot be beaten. Consider these a down payment and a reward for solving this. There is a couple of people in Winnowing Reach that I suggest you talk to. The primary one I have on good authority is a person named Gert Hollowfen, a hedge person. I haven't gotten a read on Mr. or Mrs., but Gert Hollowfen is the person to talk to, an inventor, apparently, and supposedly the greatest living slime expert in the wood. However, the magistrate of Winnowing Reach has a niece, Kenna, who is also something of a skilled slime expert, but an amateur one, and was involved with the situation with the Avium team. That's the only reason I know her name. But yes, she might be worth checking in with as well. But Gert would be my first point of call there. They may be able to provide you more information than I can. And Eric, do you suppose deploying the guard with... If we evacuate people from the area and then deploy the tenders, do you suppose any of their magics could be used to slow or halt this on a large scale, if even for a short amount of time, a day or so?
Sir Switchgear has already recommended to residents of the routes that they, at the very least, stay in pairs and let each other know where they're going.
You say the life node is doing something to halt it around the life node itself? Could we...
The signs of corruption are nowhere near it.
Could we, if it's for a very short amount of time, just move people there? I can organize resources to look after them for a short amount of time, and guards to protect them. Maybe, I know the tenders are not a large order, but maybe we could deploy a few tenders around them to help keep back this magic in that area. If people are being attacked, that is my concern. The people of the Alderheart and the Alderheart itself.
Yes,
Well-
the temple itself is quite small, so I don't think it would
But
house
the
that
streets
many
around
people.
it, possibly.
But yes, we'll leave the planning to your discretion. I think
That's
you're
fine. I'm just
wise enough
asking
to
your
do that.
opinions. You are... Eric, I'm afraid you're the expert, my boy. Well, you and Sir Julio.
I will look at Julio.
And I don't believe I've met
in
this
a
young
manner
man other
of-
than when he saved my life earlier. A pleasure. You've been brought onto the team for... And she gives you a once-over and says... Mechanical expertise, I assume?
Exactly, yes. Magico-mechanical expertise, correct. It's
I
a
see.
delight to meet you.
And she does, well, a pleasure. And she very demurely, sort of one claw just takes your palm and gives her once a firm... This woman is quite old, even by bird folk standards, and Corvum live longer than most. Eric, what do you reckon? Sort of 80s?
At least, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, mid to late 80s. She is an old bird, but there ain't no stopping. She's still flying. Yeah, there is steel in her grip and her gaze. And she says, "Well, splendid. So thoughts generally, gentlemen, lady. Do we think...
I have arranged for extra patrols in the routes to keep an eye out for any unnatural disturbances or disappearances, we've arranged to group the Perch Guard and Wildwood Brigadiers together to kind of counteract the level of distrust some people down there still bear towards the Perch Guard.
It's very
So
wise.
we're hoping.
Well,
We're saying it's a training exercise to keep everybody calm, but technically they're down there to keep an eye on things.
So do you believe I should move the people or leave them where they are with this extra layer of protection you've already organized, you incredibly organized people, you?
I'm gonna look at Julio in a manner of, how do you feel about us using the chapel as a base?
I think you should prioritize people of the Alder Heart to the best of your abilities, and I think prioritizing moving, because the space is small, prioritizing moving people who live the closest to this burgeoning death node there would be ideal. So there's
Evacuate
like a
the area
quarantine,
around it, do you think?
yes, node, like area around it, and well, let's hope that the patrols and the tenders will keep things from escalating.
All right.
The tenders, if nothing else, specialize in preventative measures. So
And if
having one or two small team, a team of one or two watching the massive death elemental substance, and having another small team operating out of or near the life node, they should have the ability to borrow some energy from the node.
I see.
And them working together with the Perch Guard and with the Brigadiers, I think as a combined force should be able to buy some time at the very least.
I also think it would be worthwhile for them to map any puddles and best they can where the people disappeared.
Well, then, I shall ask, if you wouldn't all mind, you know the brief. So, Mr. Switchgear, please go and relay what you need to relay to the people of the Roots and your contacts down there. Pesh, you brief your soldiers. I will put this fully under Spear's direction. This is definitely the sort of thing your organization was created for. Feel free, and she draws up a piece of paper from the table and very rapidly scrawls out an executive order, saying, pending ratification from the council. I sincerely doubt it's going to be opposed. This gives you full remit to take whoever and whatever you want. In regards to this, I doubt anybody is going to argue with you on that point. Eric, if you...
And if they do, I'll kind of... And Kesh lowers her chin and looks very serious and says, potential death node.
That's literally all I would... Thank you, that shivers. Marvellous. I didn't need that. Eric, brief the tenders. Mr. Highcraft.
I'm overdue already to meet with Gabby, so I can do that, and I'm sure she would love to meet you, Bron, if you are not spoken for.
I don't know. Do you have anything you can bring to this, or are your skill set more applicable on the front?
Yes, a far more practical applications, I believe.
I see. Well, then I shall leave you to your own recognizance. I shall have a set of beetle mounts drawn up for you at the gates in 2 hours to speed you on your way to the Reach.
I think speed is going to be the key.
Yes, I agree completely. Well then, gentlemen, Colonel, I shall leave you to it. Thank you. And she hands you the semi-secret stones and lets you go.
Tesh kind of holds the executive order and it's just like, what have we got ourselves into?
Basically says, give this lady what she wants.
I
Signed.
could have a lot of fun with this.
Frame it.
Yeah. She's like, you probably won't see another one of those again, so yes. Not unless something really badly goes wrong, so please, I hope for both of our sakes that you don't see another one. And I think we'll leave it there. As we unless you want to play the scenes out, I think next time we'll just say that they have happened. Unless Eric really wants to have a conversation with Bron and Gabby. That would be the only one I'd be interested in playing out, because Gabby and Bron would probably vibe. And it just gets Bron to meet as many of the people that in the game as possible. Cool. Alrighty, we will call it there, guys. Thank you very much for playing this evening, guys. I hope you enjoyed.
thickens.
The plot very much
Like
thickens.
ooze.
It's gooey at this point. So, let us do our favorite moments. Like we like to do at the end of our streams, we talk about our favorite moments, the favorite bits that we have of the evening. So, let's have a D5 in chat, please, to determine who we talk about first. Like viscous sludge, exactly. Bishop Blood, do you want to roll a D5? Gets a 3. We're talking about Bron first. Favorite Bron moments.
Ooh.
I mean, immediately stuff comes to mind. I have 2.
Wow.
I'll
Then
yes,
steal
so
them both.
I'll go. No, I'll be generous. I'll say one, and if no one says the other one, I'll mention
course.
it at the end. But the making a robot in the chapel for the kids to play with later. Oh, so cute! It's very Bron to be like, ooh, things to do, boop, 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 as these people talk.
We
I
left
really
him
like
alone.
that.
He made a thing that can think and move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bron, your neurodivergence is showing.
Yeah. Dead set.
Yeah.
And John, like, as well.
Mhm.
Like, looking back on it, I'm like, wow, there's a reason John and I vibed.
The 3 of us. I have a distinct memory of us with a bag of like royal show lollies,
Jelly
trying to
snakes.
eat them in the most absurd way possible. We really should have known then.
I still have
fun.
the video of John trying to eat a rapidly swinging snake, just swirling it around. And then the third time you smacked yourself in the face with it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt kind of bad for John / Bron for most of this, because a lot of the conversations were so over both their heads.
Yeah.
But I think that John did a great job in Bron processing this stuff to the best of his capacity, and just tuning out and doing his own thing for the rest.
I loved
Yeah.
the childlike wonder again. With the you managed to play, oh my god, these guys are so fucking cool, without it being weird or creepy or dumb. Like, you're just like, you guys have had some amazing adventures, but set in the tone of, and I am excited to be a part of this one. We're gonna have some weird ass stories to tell the new guy in 8 episodes. It'll be fun. Is his total vibe. On a particular note, I really liked having a vector to get some new lore in the world about the gods. Yeah, because his education would have been completely different. So yeah, it was very cool to give you that and the way you delivered that was really cool. The way you brought that into the world, and when Bron got his head around a new piece of information, a new piece of lore, he was still able to add stuff to it, able to contribute to the discussion in a meaningful way. Was very cool.
Yay. Yeah. I feel like John got a lot of what was going on, but Bron. No.
I loved that when Cash is like, I need a stick to poke it with.
Oh, that was
Bron
fun.
was just like,
Paintbrush?
oh, I'm gonna get you. Yeah, I am all over. I'm gonna get a paintbrush.
That was a good establishing moment, actually, in
Yeah.
Eric's eyes of like, oh, another fucking enabler of this bullshit.
Hey,
Oh.
that poking it with a stick was very enlightening.
It
Thank
was.
you very much.
For science. I mean,
Scientific.
yeah, Bron's got a very specific skill set that doesn't always come to play. So when there's an opportunity, he's just like, oh.
I love that. He's like, oh, I can be helpful? I am so helpful. It's very
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, I think it was my favorite point. I think was and a snack bar for a couple of reasons, because I think I've been trying to juggle just when to interject as Bron, because you can do it too much, you can do it not enough. So the fact that everybody reacted positively to it, I was like, okay, cool, good. I'm hitting the nice sweet point of like it's some, but it's not overpowering. So yeah, I'm happy to hit that mark, at least for now, and then I will know more.
Well, this is it. Like this is the 11th season in this world. So
Shit, really?
there is so much backstory in this world that you have had a lot dumped on you, and Bron, poor little Bron, has had so much dumped on him in the last. This session. Last session, I think they were fairly gentle with him, but today was wow. So yeah, you copped a lot, and you kept up really well. Daria, do you have a second one?
Yes. Well, it kind of connects to what has already been said, because it's a comedic position to be in, to be a new guy to a very involved situation, and you're like, huh, what? But what I really, really enjoyed is you are like silent acting sometimes. Like when people said, yes, the advisor Lee, star pupil of the so and so, and in the avium, and you're like. Like, yeah, of course, amazing, wow, I know about this. Actually gave me a genuine giggle, because I'm like, yeah, sure, like he knows fucking what that means. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, that's great. That's 50% Bron. No, that's 10% Bron. That's 90% John. So that's
Like,
kind of
burning desire to be involved. It was so cute. It's like,
I mean, more like I can't turn that off sometimes. So yeah, I'm glad it fit.
Great.
Oh, great, amazing.
This is the 140th episode in this world.
Wow.
Yeah. Season 11,
And the
episode
51st of this group of people.
Yeah.
Just responding to Bishop Blood, like, yeah, when Cash, they were like, oh yeah, Cash has met Hath. Like, it was just such an amazing combination of things of like, I had already written that down, like, for the one shot.
Perfect.
That was, it was cool that all came together. I don't know who's that specifically for, maybe for everyone, but like,
yeah,
that was cool.
I feel like there's going to be a cool chat at some point. It's like, so what's Hath like?
Hath, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's it. Awesome. Alrighty. Well, let's talk about somebody else, because I think John's been thoroughly flattered. So D4 in chat, everybody, please. See who we are talking about next. A 4 on the dice. That's Eric. Thank you, Bishop Blood. Favorite Eric moments. I'm going to jump in straight away. It's actually a Brendan moment, and I really, really appreciated it, warning me that you were going to do a scrying, because it enabled me to prepare properly for something I probably could have whipped out on the fly, but I much prefer the way it happened. And it's just good, sensible, really, like, it's not particularly fun, but it's you're a really excellent person to work with in sort of communal narrative storytelling. I really hecking appreciated it, and I was just like, that was very professional, very, very, and a clutch move as well. Like, that's a good play. I like that, yes. And allowed for a really interesting scene, allowed for some really good like info gathering. Potentially allowed you to jump a whole chapter of the story, to be honest. But Granny has told you specifically to go to Winnowing Reach, and you're going.
Yeah, when she was talking, I'm like, but we know, we just.
But we actually already know where it is. We could just go. There is information to gather, but you don't need it. It'll just make it easier.
Bishop Blood is saying Eric being classist. I have to agree.
Yeah, no, that was
that
very
was
good.
very good. My favorite moment is Eric being a stuck-up, stinky motherfucker.
Lights.
But actually, I enjoyed the opposite of that as well, where at the end of the session, Julio is clearly like not interested in his own like noble titles or whatever, but Eric knows that they're talking to his grandmother who really is, so he makes it a point to say, oh, Sir Switchgear is blah 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 blah, which I like that. I like that Brandon's decisions are always informed by both the bad and the good parts of Eric's upbringing, which is neat touch. Very good.
I liked words. I'm
I
looking
like
at the wrong
words
page.
too.
Hang on. I had it open to the right
I could
page.
do
and
without them.
I really liked Eric healing the tree with the plant growth.
Yeah.
Because not only was that like perfect in terms of like what the character would do, but it was also like a really interesting experiment in terms of what the reaction to that would be. I was half expecting something bad to happen to you for trying that, but
Oh, it has. He just hasn't noticed yet.
Yeah.
oh.
Now I've just
episode.
closed one of these
Excellent.
vents. I've just closed one of these vents for evil death juice to come
Yep.
out. So great.
Yeah, that's the name of our band, Evil Death Juice. Right. I think, one of my favorite moments was with Eric was in the pub, but not necessarily the classes and the lights was great, but also just handing Bron the ball. Like I can see, because there's so many layers to that. Like I can see Eric trying to connect, but I can also see him not connecting. Like, like being really patronizing. But that's as close as he gets. Like it immediately tells you so much about the character. That one thing, like yes, where they've come from, but where they're trying to go. Like I think that was a really a great way to describe Eric and what he's doing, and it also was reaching out to a new character, which is great. I love it. So yeah, amazing. Lots of things going off all in one action. It was cool.
To add further on that as well, Eric and Julio are quite close. Like Eric is very close with Cash, but also quite close with Julio. They have a bond about the tree that Cash doesn't share as much. Like Cash likes the tree. You guys love the tree.
Cash isn't technically part of your cult. So.
Yeah. Cash is leery of cults generally. So when Julio comes back with Super Bestie from a long time ago, Eric's instinct is not, I don't like that guy because he's stealing my thunder. He is, okay, I'm going to be friends with this guy too. Or I will at least try in my own neurodivergent way. That was really cute. And again, as you say, it goes an awful long way to describe somebody with a very few words. Yeah.
Yeah, in my head, it was without Eric saying as much that Eric is, max wisdom. He's very observant. He noticed Bron fiddling in the chapel, and he noticed what he did with the robot toy.
Please, no more robot toys. Yeah, have a shiny rock.
Well, like he knew that and he was also aware that they're talking about in universe some pretty high concept shit. So on one level, Eric had made note of that and was trying to use that as a point of connection, but also it was a way for Brendan to seed, hey, I'm about to use this scrying orb in a second, rather than just whipping it out of nowhere. So that was part of that. I liked being able to kind of utilize of being like the elemental plane guy. That was kind of neat, and that we all have even Bron, although it hasn't really been explored yet, we all have very specific specialties and things that we're bringing to the table now, which is cool. But that probably the main thing was me looking through my spell list, just because I can, and I like to look through my spell list, my list of features, to figure out what could be relevant, and being like, oh yeah, scrying. Oh yeah, I have a scrying orb that I got last season that I've never used yet. Hey, there's a person that I know who's missing. Let's do that. So yeah.
That's it. Awesome. Well, let's have a D3 then, please. Bible Bros. Exactly right, Bishop Blood. Fortunately, there is no holy scripture for this thing yet.
Yet.
You
Wait
know that
for
if
it.
there was a Bible made, it would be made of the Old Heart.
Oh, dead set. And we're talking about Kesh now. Favorite Kesh moments, everybody.
Yeah, I think I had one. It was right at the beginning, and I wrote it down. It was Kesh. Just the ability to, I think, express both Cash's position and Cash's opinion on their position at the same time. Like, it's so obvious that Cash has been a lot more active than they currently are, and perhaps is maybe wanting to be a bit more active than they currently are. Like, already, you haven't said that, the character hasn't said that, but literally just in those small conversations, I've been like, oh yeah, oh, Cash wants to bash some heads. Like, let's go.
Been in this office too long, man.
Cash potentially getting fired again. What a scare.
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't do that to you again.
That moment with Cash getting an executive order, and she's like, what I have in my hand right now, like that rush of power, that was very good. I really enjoyed it.
I love that as a demonstration of how far she's come, because I reckon 3 seasons ago, Cash would have been like, fuck. She's like, I can't handle this much responsibility. This is upsetting me. Like, when a god came to you and said, hey, you can do nothing, and that's fine. And she went, but I feel morally obliged to do something, and that's much worse.
I wish I felt like I could do nothing. Thanks. You affirming that has made sure that's definitely not an option.
And that was definitely what he wanted to do.
Prick.
He and I
Still
are
mad
oddly
at that
similar
guy.
in that. Yeah, the DM played Krant very well in that instance. Tara says, my favorite overall moment is just being able to sit here for 3+ hours and listen to some damn great D&D when I had a pretty crappy session myself today, and I still got a good D&D fix. I am glad, Terrace. I'm sorry that yours was shit. I had a lovely D&D session before this one with a bunch of total noobs. Only one of them had played more than twice before, and they were all teenagers, and it was great. They did a couple of things in an adventure I've run 8 times before, and I've never seen people tackle it like that before. It was stupid, but it was fun. They're the only people who've ever set off the arrow trap and got shot by it. It's so freaking obvious. They're like, okay, and one of them was like, no, I'm doing it now, and they're like, don't do it now, and all get shot.
Amazing. Teenagers.
But one of them was like, afterwards he was like, why did that happen then? And I said, well, I want you to win, but I am trying to kill you. So I made sure that this was going to hurt, but I also made sure that one of the people who had healing word would survive. And he was like, He was like, and where are you standing? I'm standing on the plinths. That's good. Okay, it happens. Anyway, sorry. Yes, we're flattering Karen right now. My favorite Karen moment was, I think, quite a subtle one going into the tavern. And your interactions with the bartender were very cute there. It was very Cash. It was very cute. It was, your reactions to the way Eric treated the barman were quite fun. And it's like, don't do that.
Okay, talk to the bartender. He can spit in your beer.
Yeah.
What? They do that down here?
Oh no.
The moment I liked that hasn't already been mentioned was in that last conversation with Iari, where I and Eric were expecting and perfectly happy for Kesh to lead the conversation and Kesh to give her report, and then Kesh actively saying, oh, Eric can tell you more about this, and being like,
He's the one who actually looked into a magic ball and saw it. So.
Yeah, so that was cool. Eric probably would have preferred Kesh to say it herself. But yeah, that was fun.
You need to
that taste of responsibility sting a little, did it, Eric?
Any other favorite Eric moments? Favorite Karen moments? Are we good? Favorite Karen yourself?
Self.
Oh man, can I start messing about with the puddle again? Because I really enjoyed messing about with the puddle.
That was funny. Fun. Gets a 2 on the dice. Bishop Blood, we are talking about Julio. Favorite Julio moments. Cool. Yes, let us say favorite Julio moments.
Julio basically being the boss of talking to the older heart is always so good.
The old heart translator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go double down on that one. I really loved how you prepared to do that. It had very much the sensation of meditation, and yeah, the way you handle talking to it, the way you react, your actual physical acting when you were talking to it. I saw you like have a little tingle up your back as it did the thing, and yeah, it was just cute. It was lovely. Favorite moment today was when I turned on my computer and found Corsair's co-streaming with good and fun peoples. You guys are awesome. Tony, thank you very much, mate. It's worthy to note, ladies and gents, that Tony will be running a game on... Tony, we've locked in the 29th, the Monday the 29th of Mutant Chronicles with me and Karen and Zach and Jess, the Renegade Chicken and the Queen Binch. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, this is the thing, and I agree, Brendan, completely. TTRPG shouldn't have a main character. Kesh kind of is, but she doesn't hold center stage. And I would argue that this is very much devolved now, and that Eric and Julio are absolutely sort of equal standing in terms of the main character of the storyline. Kesh was kind of made the lead character because they were the person with the authority to do the thing that everybody was sort of looking to them to do. But now that time has passed, we are back to Kesh has the authority to be in charge in world, but the others all have a good amount of authority in their own selves as well. So yeah, Eric is an important tender. Julio is an important pope. So yeah, it's and we will find Bron something important to be, no doubt. So it is kind of fun
Bron
to
channels
see.
the older heart magic, so
That's
you
neat.
know.
Yeah. Dangerous, terrifying.
Place, huh?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I could be
see
Pope
you,
too.
I see you.
Mecha Pope.
Greenhorn.
Mecha Pope.
Mecha
Oh my
Pope.
god.
Pope
That'd be
versus
good.
Mecha Pope. That is season 12.
Yes.
Mecha Pope versus Hulzilla.
Oh yes, with huge melons. And they jiggle.
long
of course.
tears.
Of course.
Yes. But yeah, like
Slime
we'll come back
melons.
to my moments later. But I think that's also credit to Josh, where everyone gets something special that they do, and Josh makes it very clear that everyone has their own power and their own authority to exercise. Like the tenders and the elemental things, that's Eric's purview. Julio has people in the roots looking up to him, and these like little bits. They always make our characters have our own equal potential power and respect from other people. So even if Kesh is like the figurehead, no one is feeling like slighted or overlooked, which is a sign of a good GM who makes sure that everyone is cared for.
And it feels earned as well, because this is stuff that is resulting from our actions in game.
Yeah.
Like if we were to start a new campaign with a set of brand new characters in these positions, there wouldn't be as much like at stake with it. It's just, oh yeah, I've just decided that I'm the head of all the druids in the wood, so
Yeah.
suck on that. Yeah, it feels like a natural character progression for all of us.
Yeah.
There were choices
But we're not
made.
doing favorite Josh moments. We're doing favorite Daria moments, please.
Well,
Yeah,
we gotta
and-
sneak them in,
and just
because
to-
otherwise you're gonna be like, oh, and we're done for the day. Thank you very much.
How
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
dare you? I don't
Easily.
always do that. I just usually do that. And I was absolutely going to try because I was last. But Daria moments first before you attack me with compliments.
Just to be clear, that conversation of no main characters was in response to Terrace in chat.
Yes. Yeah.
Who
You're not
is
forfeiting your
in-
favorite DM moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Who is experiencing that where there is a main character, which that sucks.
Really wish I could eat a square of white chocolate and passion fruit. I am Karen is the dark and the milk chocolate person. I am the white chocolate person. And there's a bunch of
So the pervert. You could have just said it.
oh, we already knew this. What you don't know is that Daria has done naked versions of all the character art for me. It just doesn't come up. Yeah. All the nipples
Doesn't
on
come
display.
up.
Extra.
That's,
that costs extra.
I mean, something comes up, but not that. Anyway, there's flowers over Julio's nipples. Favorite Julio moments. Everyone self-reporting.
Always.
I do have a like every time that there would be a lot of conversation about what's going on, but Julio always made sure to rope Bron in and be like, so, okay, we're going to a secret passage. And Bron's just like, yeah, we are. That's amazing. Like, you could have just been like, oh, yeah, we're going up, but I think it really shows, the character and the player's intent is that it's to be inclusive, and it's lovely. It's not. It doesn't have to be super overt. It's not, but it's just there consistently, and it's lovely to work with. But also, there's kind of a 1.5 in that I really enjoyed giving Eric shit for not having message. But the only reason I could do that is because you and Eric gave each other shit, and you opened the door. When people feel comfortable enough to play with each other like that, it's great, and it encourages other people to do it. And so that's for everybody, because last session everybody was doing that. So cool stuff, guys.
Absolutely.
I like how comfortable Julio is in his position of responsibility with the church. It doesn't come across as egotistical, but it also it's different to Kesha's level of responsibility, less so now, but when she started, as we discussed, she was pretty reluctant. But Julio is pretty practical and just embracing the fact that there's all these lost people and people who haven't been represented and spoken for a long time, and is just stepping up and making shit happen without any airs or graces, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, Kesh kind of accepted the mantle of responsibility, where Julio kind of just walked into it when it arrived.
I think mine would go riding on that, in that the way you dealt with your peeps, the way you dealt with Merle and Morris, the way you dealt with Shayax, Julio's man of the people vibe is very strong. And again, it speaks to how much he's changed since we first met him when he was a hash brown obsessed little pirate. And he's still a hash brown obsessed little pirate, but now he cares about everybody, and he wants to make
a hash brown obsessed little pope.
Yeah. Poperate. And he wants to make he's gonna get a buddy to make a giant air fryer to make hash browns for the world.
This will be like this will be the communion of the
Yes.
church.
Yes.
You take this.
Yes, absolutely.
This is my bark. Breaks the hash brown.
Honestly, such a boss move. Christianity has some flimsy little wafers. We had a
fucking hash brown.
Hash brown.
Yeah, chunky, a thick one as well. None of this wafer thin McDonald's bullshit.
So I have a question then. If the hash brown is the god's bark, what's the sour cream we dip it into?
That's the sap.
Sour cream.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like that thought much better than the thought I had.
Yeah, no. Why, you are the most... You are... you call me a perv. All right.
Also, who puts hash browns in sour cream?
Well,
Julio, apparently. I can
garlic
definitely
and sour
see it.
cream dip.
Yeah, I guess.
I've had some breakfast hash browns with sour cream and chives.
This is the thing, I suppose, we think of it as a breakfast food. I don't know about Daria, but hash browns are essentially chips. So you can dip them in chip stuff, tomato sauce or sour cream.
See,
mustard.
No, don't do
the
that.
Slavic variation of it would be draniki, which are thicker potato fried ups. So they're very, very dissimilar to chips. They're thickums. So you dip them in and there's very
We've
good.
got those as well. We call those wedges.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. Is that it? I shred my potatoes with a grater and then make pan-fried. Yes, pan-sized in a small fry pan. Hell yeah.
Trust Terrace to come in with just
Of course, Terrace says
mouth-watering
this is how I do
food.
it, and it's great. So, I also really
Self?
I had a second one. Favorite self though
Okay.
first.
Oh yeah. My favorite self moment. Um, hmm, I really like that Julio is um like very eager to always fix a conflict talking first. Like he's a rogue and he's not a stranger to like fighting. But he's always thinking, okay, how do we diplomatically approach this before we jump into fighting things? So even with these oozes, okay, they are sentient. That means we can talk to them, communicate, and like we can talk to Hath. We can like get a bit of their wisdom and such. And actually, something that I want you to probably know about the future, because Julio knows that the drop is not enough. He will probably try to ask Hath to also assist, because that's the only other like true god that made itself, which is very important expertise probably.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's almost like
Very
he's
cool.
making up for his broken marriage. Wait, what? They weren't
How
married.
dare.
They would, yeah, and the communication issues were at least 50% Raleigh. I had a second one. I really enjoyed your description of your temple, and the addition of a community center vibes to it was really nice and completely Julio. Anyway, cool. Well, let's talk favorite DM moments, because it's been rolled in chat and I would never try to avoid it. So, favorite DM moments, everybody.
You would
How,
never.
exactly, how fucking dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The nerve.
I have one. I really liked the barman. I really liked the non-verbal quorum. I enjoyed that guy. I immediately believed that he and Julio have like full conversations like that, and Julio leaves with a lot of new information somehow. It's great.
He is me.
I've got a couple, but the one I'll start with would be us talking about theory crafting about the planes, and me starting on the concept of, do the demi-planes have the same level of sentience as the other main planes, and you starting to say no, and then me continuing with this thing, and you're like, wait, no, fuck me, yes, sure.
Not the same level of sentience, but they are potentially capable of, yes.
Yes. Is another demonstration of what I'm constantly praising you for, of going with the players' ideas and acknowledging and openly stating when you like what we're on, and changing your plans based on what we're coming up with. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that we kind of just got to theorize about, like, cool, what would happen? Is there going to be, like, is there a tree of death? Is there, like, is the void the opposite?
Tree?
The void tree? Like, what, do they need soldiers? Like, that was kind of cool. And also, like, it's kind of in the same vein when you were talking about the slimes and the mock fields, like your ability to describe a picture of the lore. It's not just info, it's like, it's play, and it's great fun. It seems alive and reactive, and it's great to kind of delve into, and it's like you just give permission to be like, cool, like, let's see what happens, give me something, like, give me an offer, I'll say yes or no, but like, it's better than not giving me an offer, and that's fun.
Thank you, that's very flattering. Yeah,
just to piggyback off of that, John, I know I already said a thing, but I really like when Josh gives facts or gives information and doesn't say, therefore you think X, and just kind of leaves that information for us to then use as a topic of conversation in character to discuss in character and build that stuff. And then if we're on a radically wrong direction,
I'll have you roll an intelligence check.
Yeah.
But like, piggybacking on that, I really liked when you were like, you don't have enough information to kind of make this kind of leap. Like, you didn't like say you can't talk about, like, this is pointless. You were just like, you don't have, like, you can theorize, but you don't have enough information to kind of nut this out right now. And I was just like, it's like, it's kind of like redirecting us and kind of putting us back on track without being like, you guys should stop doing what you're doing. It's kind of like, just so you know, you're not going to work this out from what you know. You do not have enough data. But it was a really gentle, like, it didn't feel like bad in any way. It was just so you know.
Maybe go talk
This
to
is
Granny.
where you're
She
at.
possesses more information, and the route to significantly more information. Because I'm like, I love the story you created. I was like, this is comfortably more interesting than what is actually going on. But sometimes I have to actually say, yeah, but I did write a thing, so...
I did put some effort into doing
Actually,
this.
not even that much, because I'm playing a published module right now. This was pre-written. This is the Humblewood Tales that we are working from. This is Journey to the Deeps, or something along those lines, from the Humblewood
Don't tell
Tales
us anymore.
book. But it's not
That's-
out yet, so
yeah.
you can't
great.
read it. It's still in early access. The Jiggle Bit,
Nice.
tee hee hee. Yes, I quite like the bone slime. I think my favorite moment is a small thing, and it was the bone slime getting under the door.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because you said, "Oh, it goes to the door." I'm like, "Wait, it has
Ow.
a skull. What do you mean?" And then
Well.
you justifying that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm going to change what I thought of quickly to make it work. Yeah, that was cute. Cool. Alrighty, I have been flattered. Unless there was any more, we can go away from here now. Splendid. Alrighty, physical comedy was great.
Oh, there was one other thing just based on that was I liked you giving us that space to have a conversation because I don't know if this has ever been stated or if it's just my opinion of Iari, but I thought it was important that we came to her with theories and with information rather than what would have been much easier for the DM of just presenting to the NPC with the quest and getting quest and going. But I much preferred that. It felt like, we were worthy of our positions of being noted heroes and not just guys who go and do things. Yeah.
I think it was really cool. The adventure is written for level 3, and I have radically upgraded it. So what's fun is that was definitely you bringing that into the world. Iari would have been quite sanguine if Kesh had done as she was asked, gathered a group to come and sort this problem out, and gone straight to her and said, right, what do you want us to do? But doing what you did was very much more what you would have done. And also then you put that in the world, and I'm like, yeah, let's say that it absolutely is. You have done at least 50% of the character work on Iari, your own self anyway. She is as much your character as mine, Brendan. But it is cool when you can take that from your player and go, yep, no, absolutely, this is exactly it. I had the guys do it this afternoon. One of them decided that one of the others would have a pet wolf, and before we began, and I was like, fuck it, yeah, let's have a pet wolf. He's not useful in combat. You're a barbarian. You can't control him, but you have a pet wolf. Got a wolf mini out of the box and said, it's a one-shot, fuck it, there you go. This was a 13-year-old who'd never played D&D before. I'm like, yeah, you got a wolf pet, there you go, what's his name? And the kid was like, fuck. I was like, Fluffy?
Well, you
He's
can't
like,
call him that.
Fluffy. He didn't say that really, but yeah, it's just like bouncing off what your player does and what your other suggestions, like yes, anding. But yes, that was cool. All right, well, let's go away from here now because we have been screaming very
The
wide.
other thing, what just very quickly was you yes-anding by wanting to scry. You could have very easily said, no, that's plot from a further on point. You, for whatever reason, it's blocked. You can't.
Yeah, powerful
that.
death magic stops it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that
which you
did occur to
easily
me.
could
I
have
was
done.
like, could easily have said no, but why not? Yeah, because I didn't. There's also a level of trust. There's I don't think they are going to use this information to jump forward the plot. I mean, you had two other ways of finding this as well. Like Kesh's information could have, the information I gave Kesh about the Celestials could have done the same job. The Elementals and the Celestials and that sort of thing could have done the same thing. Julio's sensing of that epicenter of death magic, you could have just gone straight there. The DM tells you for free, that's where it is. Who knew? So you could just go straight there and not
Shocking.
waste a day going to talk to some idiot in Winnowing Reach who has like 2 pieces of relevant information. But it's more interesting narratively if you do this, trust me. So now we're going to go and raid the Eldritch Scribe.
Before you do, fuck you, first of all. I'm gonna, because you stinker try to avoid compliments, I'll give you one more for free. The reason we don't go straight to the source, even though we have the information, is because we know that as a DM, you're not gonna fuck us over. You're not gonna go, but you took 1 more hour than you needed to, so everyone dies. Like, you're not gonna do that shit to us. So we have the luxury to actually explore the world and feel through the situations without trying to like game the system or trying to be like smarter than the DM. We don't have to do any of that because we know that you are building a story to be very nice and enjoyable for us and for the audience. So that is just another credit to you. So fuck you,
It's
I guess.
never felt
Fucking hate
competitive or combative. It's always felt collaborative.
That is the intent. All right, now we're going to go and raid the...
Oh, that's great.
Go.
Do it.
I was just saying when I was playing Baldur's Gate on Tuesday, and it took me in the end 3 goes to successfully get the fucking tieflings out of the basement because I didn't realize that I'd accidentally like triggered story progression, so they're all dead the first time, and then the second time I let them out and the idiots went down into some horrible blood chamber and died down there, and I found them later. I was like, what? I let you out, why did you go? So it turns out if I let them out, they'll just, you know, accidentally die, then they'll take the worst way out and die. So I had to not let them out. I had to give them the way to escape so they would actually escape and not die horribly. And it took me 3 goes, and I was just like, why was this so hard? I just wanted to rescue. So yes, I feel that. I feel that.
Cool. All right.
They're safe.
We're
I got
going
them
to
out.
go and
It's all
raid
okay.
the Eldritch Scribe now, because I said to John it would be 20 minutes, and it was not. So, in fairness, the game part was only 20 more minutes, and then you guys complimented me a bunch. So, we will go away from here and raid the Eldritch... Oh, they just raided us!
No! Never mind. I get God, I guess.
Hey, Des. Hey,
Sorry,
Raph.
I'm laughing because Josh was like, we're going to raid the Eldritch Scribe, and then we kept butting in saying, oh, we want to say one more thing, we want to say one more thing, we want to say one more thing, and then you guys raided us just when he'd actually
They
managed
kept
to.
complimenting me.
Oh, my players
To be
like
fair,
me.
this is
Oh.
probably ideal because now we can all go raid someone else rather than us
Exactly.
unloading on them and then like, haha, now it's
Yes.
no problem.
Yeah.
So I guess you're welcome, Josh.
The
You're
worst is the
welcome.
DM. Yeah, okay. Kill them all next time. How dare they? Exactly, right? Yeah. Rocks fall, you all die. New party. We hate this current one.
It was us as real people doing
I
it.
didn't give you any extra compliments.
That's true, you did not. Bron gets to
just wanted to
survive. He
tell a
becomes
story.
Tree Pope.
Hey, John, there's time now if you want to.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
2
look.
o'clock in the morning. No offense.
Yeah, John's been keeping quiet, not because he doesn't have nice things to
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's fucking tired. So,
Guys, I
we're
wanna
going to
go to
shout out
sleep.
at the Eldritch Scribe, and then we're going to go away and find someone else to raid, I guess. Guys, if you want some quality D&D content, we don't get to get raided by them very often, so it's kind of nice. But thank you very much for bringing your folks here. Smash that follow button if you haven't already. I expect most of you have, because you're bloody champions. And we will go and raid somebody else. I don't have a huge number of people. The Mini Mad Cat. All right, let's do that. Sounds great, Tony. We'll go and raid the Mini Mad Cat. Why not? Guys, who the heck have you been this evening? John, who the heck are you?
I'm John. I've been friends with all of these guys for a long time now. Some more than others. But yeah, this has been my 4th D&D session here on Twitch.
Yeah.
Very much enjoying it and feeling very welcomed and happy to bring it and apologizing for being tired and words. The end.
The Mini Mad Cat is doing Warhammer stuff. All right, cool. That sounds fun. Let's do that. Thanks, Tony. Alrighty, Karen, who the heck are you?
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm a writer and performer and internet addict. You can find me on the social media site formerly known as Twitter as Mother of Bunnies. You can find my Bella Sculptor ego, Miss Lolamore, over on the Instagrams. Or you can listen to my dulcet tones in the D&D podcast. There Be Dragons, available where all good podcasts are found. Or come back on Tuesday and watch me maybe have multiple attempts to do the next part of Baldur's Gate, because goddammit, I'm a perfectionist and these people will not die on my metaphorical watch.
Or on any other of your jewelry. Brendan, who the heck are you?
I'm Brendan. I'm an actor and director. Maybe soon I will have a thing to put in my little bio of a show that might be happening in the future, but not right now. For now, will be here on Thursdays making life difficult for Daria and for Josh.
Great. Speaking of
As
which,
it should be.
our wonderful channel artist, Daria. Daria, who the heck are you?
Yeah, my name is Daria. I play the illustrious Tree Pope, and I also make art, emotes, portraits, like the new portrait for Braun, which is very nice. I enjoyed doing that one. And I'll be back on Thursday playing more of Julio.
Hogan, thanks very much for that gifted sub to the Eldritch Scribe. Des, congratulations. You get to use our beautiful emotes, designed by the lovely Daria, surname redacted. And there you go. And I be Josh the Pirate. You can find me here on my channel, Corsairs Cove, where I run D&D and other RPG-related games with my lovely wife, Karen, the mother of bunnies, and all my splendid friends. But you know that, because you've joined me already. Thank you very much for doing that. Keep doing it. We are supported here proudly by Wooten Forge Gaming Accessories, creators of WA and possibly even the world's finest handcrafted wooden tabletop accessories, like this gorgeous Chara Dice Keeper here, or this adorable little Corsairs Cove coin, the CCC, in which you can see the sea being held in the hand of a tentacle, and other things. They make gorgeous stuff. Check them out, woodenforge.com, because I don't shill, but I do have bills. And we also are affiliated with Troll Lord Games, who are a splendid third-party D&D and other stuff publisher. They also have their own system, Castles and Crusades. Check it out at trolllord.com. They do some really cool shit. And they were also the last publishing house for the late Gary Gygax. So you can check out some of his work on there as well. Karen, tell me about Ukraine, and then we'll go away.
The Ukraine, you may have heard there's a war going on there. Unfortunately, yes, it is still going on. So if you have some spare pennies rattling around your digital wallet, you can follow the link in chat to donate to the Emergency Action Appeal, which is an Australian-based group of charities and not-for-profits raising money to support Ukrainian refugees. If you follow the link, you can either donate to a specific group or you can donate generally to the cause, and every little bit is appreciated.
Thanks very much, you bloody champions. Alrighty, we will go away and raid the Mini Mad Cat. Guys, throw your favourite raid emotes up in chat. Tell the Mini Mad Cat where you came from. Show them love like we always do. This is a new one for us, so we will be doing that as well. Smash the follow button when you get there, and we will see you same bat time, same bat channel on Tuesday night, if not before, for some more Baldur's Gate 3. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Enjoy our new end screen as well.